Hey yo, welcome to Beyond the Mat, where it's all about the things and stuff, it's like this and like that. Welcome to Beyond the Mat, where it's all about the things and stuff, it's like this and like that. Welcome to Beyond the Mat, where it's all about the things and stuff, it's like this and like that. This and like that, this and like that, this and like that, like that, like that, like that.
Well, good morning to all my fellow Beyonders out there. Last night, ladies and gentle germs, I ate a harrowing dose of THC capsules, and this morning when I woke up, everything was going in slow motion, and everywhere I look, everything has a sparkle, and everything is all jittery. It's all vibrating, and I can see the varying vibrations because I am going so slow. And I can see the vibration of love. Like it's right there. It's a real thing that people can see if you eat a harrowing dose of marijuana.
Whoa, man. I almost got sucked right down into a black hole. Time had slowed down for a second, and I swear I could see love swirls all through my home, mostly coming out of the dog like these red strings, and they were glowing, and each string was attached to something like one of her new dog toys. Today's guest, ladies and gents, he doesn't ever eat heroic doses of cannabis. He likes to keep his brain clear from the fog of doobies to remain mega on point all the time. And there's nothing wrong with that. As most of y'all know, I'm only a once per month green user, so I only get to hear the sound and see the color of love once every 30 days. But enough about me, let's get into this podcast that was brought to you by me and my trippy ass artwork. Head on over to jcoleyoga.ca. If you love to trip balls, you're gonna love this artwork. If you love to trip over your balls, they might be a bit swollen, have that looked at. If you love weird and wacky artwork that makes your brain feel like someone poured soda pop all over it, pop, 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 then you'll love these drawings that are all found at jcoleyoga.ca. Today's show is brought to you by the color teal, like teal swan, because she's just so, such a beautiful narcissist. And I'm a beautiful narcissist too. If our narcissists could touch even just the tips. Explosive, powerful teal swan. Please be on my podcast one day. Fuck this Marty guy. Oh, right. Marty, he's waiting on the line. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show, my friend, the comedian, Martin Saulnier. Yo, what's going on, man?
Hey, alright, cool, you can hear me.
Oh, I can hear you. If you can hear me, that's all that matters. That's all that matters in this life.
Oh my god.
That's all that matters in life. Is hearing.
I can hardly hear you there, man.
Oh, then life isn't really working out, is it?
Yeah, well now I can hear you. Now life is working out.
Yeah, because that's all that matters in life. That's it.
That it works out?
No, that I can hear you.
That it works out, you don't pollute it. That's kind of what matters, right?
If it works out or if it doesn't work out, in the end, it all just kind of works out.
I guess, because whatever you pollute, like in a million years, it's not going to be here anymore.
No, like even if you like made the best thing ever of society, like it's probably even in a million years they're gonna be like, what the fuck was that guy thinking? Look at this stupid ass shit. What is this stupid shit?
Yeah, it's extremely insignificant, really, in the end, if you look at it. That's
From a nihilist point of view that I have, Yeah, how you been, man?
right. Like it's
What's happening?
pretty good.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Been like,
Welcome back. Are you recording right now?
yeah, sure.
Sure. Not sure.
I'm always recording. Always.
You're always recording.
just-
Okay.
I record
okay,
everything.
I'm just getting the
Record my life
charger
24/7.
and everything ready, so you don't run out of batteries in the middle of this.
I got a whole new system. There's no more batteries. I got like my whole like home studio set up, like my whole like recording studio, because I've had some vocal things to record lately. So right now you're on a tripod on my phone, so you're like on speakerphone, and I'm talking into like a studio mic. So, and like on this Facebook Messenger chat that we're doing, it shows your face on my phone. So it's kind of like I'm looking at you. You're standing there with a microphone. It's kind of like I'm talking to you. It's like you're in the room, but you're just like really, really small. You're like
Okay, so you feel like you're looking at me in the eyes right now.
from like the elbows up, you're like 6 inches tall. So I might double
That's
that.
about right.
You're about a foot tall. And then there's another little you coming out of your nose. There's like a smaller.
That
Yeah, there's like a little.
That sounds about right. That sounds like me. Well, I am a short guy.
Yeah, you're literally only 12 inches tall. Like when people go to see you on stage, they bring their like monocles and spectacles and binoculars. And then you have another smaller you coming out
Especially
of
if I'm
your
in a
nose.
bigger theater, like, I look so small. And like in every single picture, whenever somebody says, "All right, let's take a group picture of everybody that was on the show," and it's always like me. I always look like there's one of these things that doesn't belong. And that's like me on every single group picture ever. It's always like there's me who's like, I look like a kid with a beard who's balding, and you've got like all these like actual adults around who look like they can actually change a tire, but then you've got like me who's like just like, well, I hope this guy is funny, because if he's not funny, basically he's got nothing in life going for him. That's what they look like in every single group picture.
It's all or nothing. But hey,
Every single one of them.
At least you get to be at the front of the picture. Like you'll always get put at the front. No one's gonna be like, "Yo, stand in the back, Marty." No one's ever gonna say that. They'll be like, "You're always at the front."
It happened a couple times, and you didn't see those because I was standing in the back.
Ah, that's why I didn't see those ones. But I was
Like, oh, well, Marty's tagged on this. It's a shame he wasn't in it. And then you just like move on with your day and you forget about it.
Can't you, like-
I noticed because.
But can't at that point can't you like knife them in the calf muscle? Get out,
Not really.
Get
I'm not
out.
strong enough to do that. I'm a little.
Oh my god. Okay, so
Like, if there wasn't adults around like harvesting food, I'd starve to death. Like that'd be it for me. I'd be done. Like at least I can admit that. Like I need other people to live in order for me to live.
I think we all do. We just don't realize it, really. Man, I
Yeah,
think
it's like that whole Buddhist thing where, like, you know, we've all known that person. You are like they need help, okay, with something. Like everything in life, like you're always behind. So
Yeah.
you offer them help and
Yeah.
they refuse it, and that's why they were always behind in life.
yeah.
And there's like that whole Buddhist thing, whereas like nobody ever does anything on their own ever. Like if you drink a glass of water, all right, like somebody made it possible for that water to get to you. Somebody made that glass you're drinking out of. Somebody made that house you're living in. If somebody didn't make that house, you made it yourself. Somebody chopped that wood for you. Somebody like even if you did all that, like the paved roads that you use, somebody else did that. Like use every day something that somebody else did.
Yeah.
Every single day.
Yeah, every day, man. Even just, like you said, just getting other supplies there. I was gonna say, at my dad's house, that's what we do. We would cut down trees, and then a machine. But see, even the machine would come and turn a tree into a board or a plank or
and somebody else designed that machine. Somebody else did it. Somebody else put it together.
Yeah.
So there's always like anything. Like if you trickle down far enough, like everything you do is only possible because somebody else did it for you.
To some point, to some degree. And even learning the knowledge, like we have the internet, and we can go online and we can learn how to like go live in the forest with nothing off grid. But we need the internet to teach us that right now, which is a culmination of all the work of everybody ever come together into this one thing. We need that in order.
Before the internet, like the knowledge that you have was the knowledge that was passed over to you from somebody else. Yeah. And then if you came up with something on your own, but you only came up with that thing because you basically went further than what was already taught to you.
Yeah, but even that,
like everything is a trickle down of work somebody else did.
Yeah, like even books that were written, like someone didn't just write a book. Like there's a printing press, and someone had to cut down trees to make paper and figure that out, and someone had to figure out ink, and someone had to figure out like all these things just to teach you like how to go camping for a weekend, to get away from it all. You needed it all to teach you how to get away from it all, is kind of the point that I'm getting out of this.
Yeah, exactly. It's a weird thing. And when we talk about like homelessness, how sad it is, and then we talk about like, oh, like we are ruining the planet with everything we have. It's like, well, before everything we had, we're all literally homeless, like living in the woods outside, like just running after food.
Yeah.
Like that's literally what it was. Like everybody, like there was one point in time. It's only very recently. It hasn't been that long where everybody is not homeless.
Yeah.
Everybody was homeless really not that long ago. Like just a few thousand years ago, everybody was homeless. Everyone.
Yeah, probably less than that too. When you look at the equality of life for like, probably like in the last like even 500 years, if you go back to like medieval times, man, or even just back like, even like 500 years, there's just such an inequality that most people are still like tribal and homeless. But look at like homelessness. I'm so intrigued with homelessness. Like there's something about it that I'm just like, I fucking can't wrap my head around it. I'm like, why would you? I mean, I know why you would give up everything to go away from it all, because for one, it gets overwhelming, it gets really stressful, life just gets so compounded, there's credit scores and there's all that kind of bullshit that can squeeze you out of the system. There's so many things that could happen, and then add in a little bit of crazy, and that's all it takes, and then you're done. But there are like people who choose to like leave. They're like, I'm going off grid, so I'm gonna go be homeless. Like I'm leaving the system behind. Like fuck this. So
well, it's like I remember this thing, like I was talking about, like like there's some people, they're kind of like hillbillies, right?
Yeah.
And we classify them as hillbillies, like uneducated. Like usually they drive trucks and they smoke like 3 packs a day, and it's they're basically like, a lot of times like they smell, but they have a home.
Right.
But usually, like a lot of time, I look at this, I kind of judge these people, and then I tell myself, you know what? If the grid goes down, a person will know what to do, because usually they also like be drunk.
Sorry, you kind of.
They know exactly how to chop wood. They know how to like build stuff. They know how to like survive.
Yeah.
They sometimes know how to grow stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Like they, like those, like a lot of like so-called uneducated people by society are the ones that can survive if the grid goes down.
Yeah, because they have the skills that we don't have from being on the grid. Being on the grid is like you go to a grocery store, you pick up some milk and bread and you bring it home. Being off the grid, you know that you got to go squeeze some cow titties and you got to chop some wheat down Start grinding that shit out. Make some milk and bread happen.
It's not just that. It's like what you do on a daily basis. You know, like you play around taking lawnmowers apart. You basically you're just like taking stuff apart and building stuff in. You go in the woods. Because you have to hide moons, but you also have to figure out how to make things.
Yeah.
But skill can kind of like build up to like if the grid goes down, like I know exactly how to survive. I think I said that on the last podcast. If the grid goes down, like I have about 2 weeks to live maximum. That's about it.
Hey man,
like that's what I have.
I've been planning for this shit. Don't worry, I got your back, buddy. We'll hang out. I've been planning for this for years. But no, the last there.
Oh, man, I'm good. It's like that one. It's like that one crazy guy who was telling me about like all the zombie apocalypse and everything that I used to work with, and like, he was really crazy, but he had like a hut with the cans and everything, and like, what are you gonna do if the zombies comes out? Like, I'm prepared. Like, I want to be the first one to die.
Just make me a zombie, please. Just put me in. I'll be a zombie.
Yeah, like
just bite me, get it over with. Bite me, but don't eat my whole body. Just give me a little bite on the arm or something. Like, don't make me like the worst zombie. I don't want to be that zombie that has no legs, that's crawling around on the ground, just a torso. I want to be a zombie that has my legs. I want all my pieces. I want that rage zombie shit too. I want to like rage, just fucking run, whoa, dive through a car window, eat a motherfucker out of it. Like, I want to be that zombie. I don't want to be like, mush.
No, I think I'd off myself before the zombie gets to me.
What?
I think I would. Yeah.
What if you like?
Yeah, you don't want to go that way because you can't trust how a zombie. Like, you can't ask it. Like, hey, can you like just kill me, but this way? And you're like, no, bitch. Like, I'm killing you the way, however it happens. Depending on your struggle, depending.
Yeah, but you could totally take.
Because then your survival instinct is got in.
Right. But you could totally catch I'm here. You could catch a zombie and you could like take his head and like make it bite you with your own like hand, and you could make it that it only bites you a certain amount, so that you're just gonna get the dose of the shit you need in you.
You see like those zombie movies like and shows. Like, but what was it called? Like that famous zombie show that everybody
the Walking Dead.
It was like the end of the world.
The
Walking Dead. See, I've watched maybe like 3 episodes of that, and the whole time I'm just judging. Like, I can't relate to this. Like, this is never gonna happen. Like this. Like, I can't stand zombie shows. I can't stand.
Well,
at all. Like,
I've watched probably.
It's never gonna happen.
I watched probably 6 seasons of that shit, and man, I'll tell you that you watching 3 episodes is the same as me watching 6 seasons, because it's just the same shit repeated every day, every episode. What are we gonna do today? Get up and run from zombies. What are we gonna do tomorrow? Get up and probably have to kill some humans who are trying to like fuck shit up. Then what are we gonna do tomorrow? Probably run from some more zombies, and then kill some more humans who are trying to fuck shit up. That's like
there
the whole
was like
show.
one time like I've seen. I wasn't watching the episodes alone. I was living with somebody who was like enjoying those, and like the whole time I was being an asshole, like commenting during them. and it's like one of them was guarding their zombies, and this old just like pushing away, kicked them like it was no biggie. But at first, like they were like those zombies were like this shit, and they were scared of them, and now they're just like killing them like they're mosquitoes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the hell is going on? Why aren't they just doing that to like every zombie and then just start to repopulate? That's why I would be like the worst at like writing that stuff. Like, it would last about like 2 episodes, and then like everything would be fine. Like, I could not be a writer on one of those things. Like, anytime like it's something that I cannot relate to, I've never gone through, never will go through, and I don't know anybody that's been through it, and nobody in the history of the world will ever go through it, I tap out of the movie. That's it. Like, I can't.
Really?
I can't stand it.
Oh, man.
The most science fiction-y that I can go, and he was like kind of trapped on the planet Mars. Well, they're trying to go on Mars, so they did like a hypothetical thing of like what would happen if like somebody would just like trapped on that planet, because like his other mission couldn't go, so they have to turn around. So they kind of use like some dumbed down inaccurate science for it, which is cool, you know, like something like in my I didn't pass grade 9 science thing. I'm like, well, this could happen, you know, so I was like into that.
Yeah.
But when it comes to zombies and stuff like that, I tap out. I can't do it. I cannot at all.
What about zombies, like metaphorically speaking, as the world becomes more like stupid and it just becomes more of a, you're kind of looking around, you're like, wow, this is The Walking Dead right now. Like, this is what's happening. There are so many like idiots out there, and I don't want to generalize on everybody, but there's in general a lot of idiots who are just going through life, they're just going through the motion. They just get up and they do a bunch of bullshit that they think they have to do because that's what they've been taught, because that's what their parents were taught, because that's what their grandparents were taught, and it just goes on and on and on, and they don't ever break free and see this like weird trap of just, I'm just gonna repeat the same thing every day. I'm just gonna keep go to this same job every day. I'm gonna take the same road every day. I'm gonna eat the same snacks every day, and I'm gonna say this exact same thing to the exact same people every day. And I'm just gonna take this little stamp and I stamp this same piece of paper in the same spot with the same stamp every day, and that's your whole existence. Like, man, if you ever like caught yourself in that, I would be like, what the fuck is going on? Like, whoa. Like,
I've caught myself in one of those like dead end, like, is this really my life jobs? That's why I like really struggle to make comedy work for me.
Yeah.
Because I was in one of those jobs where I was like, people ask you, like, oh, so how are you doing today? And they don't really give a shit. And you can say, look, I'm doing terrible. They're like, good. And like, they don't, like, they have like a predetermined answer. And that was like my big thing. Like, how are you? Like, you don't care. You don't care. Can we skip this weird how are you small talk?
Yeah.
You have a predetermined answer that it's good.
Yeah.
And I did see a meme. It was it really made me laugh, and I'm like, shit, I wish I would have thought of it when I was working there. And it's the dad on That 70s Show.
Yeah.
And he says, when somebody when somebody asks you, like, how are you doing today? Like, if I was a bird, I would fly into a ceiling fan right now. Like, I wish I had that answer. Like, when I worked that job that I just hated.
I would fly into a ceiling fan. I'd fly into the fucking window and get away from you right now.
Oh, man, yeah, like, the amount of times, like, and then Marcel said this, it's like, you don't hate your job until you don't realize you actually hate your job. Some people think you have a shit job, like you have like a pretty cool job, you're like a teacher or something,
yeah.
And you're like, oh, you don't understand what it is, we go there, work hard. No, you don't have a shit job unless you're actually daydreaming on a daily basis, like shit on somebody's desk. That's a really crappy job. You're daydreaming of going in the boss's office and shitting on the desk every single day, and just like doing a scene. Like you're daydreaming every day. Like, if I would quit right now, what would be the most epic way I could quit?
Yeah.
And you're daydreaming that every single day.
I would...
And that's what working in a call center is like.
I would give my 30-day notice handwritten on a piece of paper and then go sit at my desk and smile. Because that's what they want you to do. They don't want you to freak out, man. They don't want you to throw shit and freak out at a customer and yell and, I can't take it anymore! And roll around on the floor maniacally. They don't want that to happen. They don't want other people to see that as a possibility of something that could happen again. Because if you see someone freaking out like that, you're like, oh fuck, I might snap and freak out. And then, that shit spreads like wildfire through the minds of humans, all corralled into a little pen like that, especially when you're in this like trance. You're in this zone of just like repeating in a hypnotic way, saying the exact same shit over and over and over. And just even hearing that beep in your ear, beep, and then the call comes in, oh, hi, well, I would like to blah, 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 blah. And you're like, oh, I can help you with that, for sure, blah, 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 blah. And you say the exact same shit. You're caught in a trance. So when you're in a trance, you're highly susceptible to possibilities. And if you look across the room, you see Marty freaking out and throwing papers and computers across the room and shit. You know, you're in a susceptible trance state. Now it's in your head that you can also freak out someday. And they don't want that. So they want you to calmly...
There was somebody, that's how he quit. Like, he took a keyboard and he freaked out. And he was like, I think like went through a monitor or something like that. And then he just like stormed out. And done with this shit type of thing. Just like walked out in the most epic way.
Yeah.
And like to this day, people still talk about it. And when I see... Here's the thing. Like, when I knew I was going to quit, like, I had a plan. Like, I'm going to quit, like, by this time. I'm going to work my ass off and raise as much money, put in my bank account, like, rainy day money, as much as I can, like, safety money. And then I'm going to quit. So I sold my house and everything, started living, like, super, like a poor person while I was working that job and doing comedy as well. So that way I could collect thousands of dollars and, like, build up my bank account in huge... So that if something happens, I have safety net financially for a year.
Cool. That's a cool idea. That's a cool idea.
When you know you're going to quit this job that you hate, that you get, then you start resenting everything. You start noticing everything. It's exactly like for somebody who has never worked a job that they hate, it's exactly like being in a relationship with a person you know you're going to dump next month, but they don't know you're going to dump them. So you start like noticing every little thing about them. You start noticing every aspect of every day that you like. Everything that irks you even more.
Or something something that didn't irk you at all.
Towards the end, towards the end, like I was put in that in a little program. My set date to quit was like June 13th or something like that.
Right.
And basically, like, I was put in this program where we had to go, like, on a different floor or something like that. And I had, like, these people that I was sitting with. And after sitting there for a week, the people downstairs I usually sat with said, yeah, it's much more positive around here since you're not sitting with us in the past week. And that's when I really had a realization. I'm like, oh, shit. Like, I'm actually affecting other people. I'm affecting other people's attitudes. So I came home that night, June 6th, wrote my resignation letter, and wanted to hand it in on 7th. But before I could hand it in, I was like in this program that I had, we were having a meeting, and then somebody came, like, Marty, like, because I was basically I had quite a lot of like sick days because I hated the job, right? So I had a lot of sick days.
Yeah.
Came to get me so that I could talk to the big boss, and the big boss was like, you've been missing a lot of days and all that, and I asked, like, am I fired? They're like, oh no, absolutely not. And I'm like, and this my response, why not? Why am I not fired? Like, I'm a bad influence for everybody. If I speak with one more condescending person, I'm gonna flip a computer. Like, it's not good. I'm not a good influence for the new people working there. They're like, oh, this job's really good. I did that. And I'm like, yeah, you're new. Wait till you hit 5 years, and you're gonna be just like me. Like, everybody, like, I was like you when I first started, like, motivated, doing shit.
Oh, yeah.
And at 5 years, you just realize that it's corporate bullshit. And I was really, really, really on the verge of, like, flipping a computer. So then I had a talk, and it was actually, like, a friendly quit. You know, like, it was a mutual thing. I'm like, well, can I at least finish my shift?
Yeah.
And, like, so I can be paid for the end of the day? They said, no, like, just gather your things, you'll be paid till the end of the day. Like, we don't want you to be, like, they didn't want to take a chance of, like, me taking a call and, like,
right,
just going, like, willy-nilly,
right, on
everything, right? Like, that I really don't give a shit vibe during calls, so, which was good on their part, good on mine, good on theirs. And So when I came back upstairs, they asked me, like, do you want to go say goodbye to some people? I said, oh, no, absolutely not. They're like, people. Why not? I'm like, because I don't want to do that line. You go through everybody and you have to explain yourself as to why you're leaving.
And the whole...
that real shitty announcement, and, like, people from afar see you, like, hugging people that you've only talked, like, 3 times to.
Yeah.
And, like, that... I'm like, the people that matter, when I work a job, the people that matter, I'm still gonna see in the future. And I'm still in touch with a few of them. You know, and like those that matter, I'm in touch with. Those that don't matter, I'll never see again.
You don't gotta.
That's how you know who matters and not when you quit a job.
Yeah, you don't gotta go through it all like right then and there. Like, you know, you can like you don't have to listen to the violins playing as you walk down the hall and there's 2 rows of people crying and you're hugging and shaking hands. It's not like this big dramatic exit. You just kind of like just slide out. And then everybody one day is like...
I was gathering my stuff. And, like the woman who was doing the meeting, she was a bit of a, like a bitch, in a way. Like, that, you know that one, like, she sleeps around with some of the managers, the brown nose.
Oh.
And it's like...
I like
where
this is going. I like where this is going. I like where this story's going.
Oh, Marty, like, are you gonna be like here tomorrow? You need to fill in this little thing. I'm like, no. I said, I just came up. I had this big smile on my face. I'm like, no. I'm like, I'm done. I quit. I quit. I'm leaving. And I had this smile on my face. She's like, no, really, are you here tomorrow? I'm like, no, I'm done. Like, this is it. I'm leaving.
Oh.
It's like, well, so you're off tomorrow. That's what you're saying. I'm like, well, if you want to take it that way, yeah. Big smile on my face, and then she was, so are you here on Monday? I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm never coming back again. Like, this is it. I'm leaving. And then she got all pissed off, and she said, we'll talk about this later, and she left the room. And I was just like gathering my stuff. Didn't give a shit. Biggest smile on my face. And one guy was like, Marty, are you serious? And one guy said, look at the smile on his face. Of course he's serious. He's getting out of here. And then somebody said, oh my God, Marty, you're leaving. That's so sad. I'm like, this is like an Orange. I said it out loud. Like, this is like an Orange is the New Black. Whereas like that one girl, she's leaving prison, leaving all those prisoners behind.
Yeah.
Like, she's getting out of jail, but the rest of you that I got to know while I was behind bars, I'm leaving you behind type of thing. Like, it was really like that vibe.
Yeah.
And like,
you're looking
people
at these...
seeing me quit were like, they were like sad that I was leaving, but none of them were like, oh, it's sad that you don't have a job. And they were like, no, you're like fucking lucky.
Yeah. They're more...
You know what you want to do after this. That you have a direction, that you are going after something bigger than this. Right. Something bigger than this whole call center corporate shit.
Right.
And
as they gaze at you, puppy dog eyes, in sadness, it's more sad for their own shitty lives that they're not getting away is what they're really sad about. They're not sad that you're leaving. They're sad that they're not leaving. It's really what's...
Oh my God, do you know how many people with degrees are working on the front line in that place?
Oh.
It's amazing.
Man, I've been through it. I've been through it all. I've been through... like probably 10 years of call centers, like to try and like see. I would go in and I would do the training for like a month or 3 months, and then I would quit as soon as the training was over. As soon as they wanted me like talk to a customer, I'm like, yeah, I don't really like doing this, bye. And I would go to another call center, and I kind of lived off of call centers because during the time the government was putting a lot of money into call centers, so they were springing up. Every month one would open, it would last 6 months, and it would close down. So they were constantly coming up and closing, coming up and closing. You could bounce around, but then that kind of stopped happening as the government stopped putting all that money into call centers, as everything is now being outsourced to places like India, you know, where they can pay you like 3 cents an hour instead of paying us 12 to 20 an hour.
And you know, like, people are not necessarily going to be like going there just for the training and coming out, because like some finally like figured out that system.
Yeah.
And like you could tell like in the training class like who it was that was there for that and who it wasn't.
Yeah,
and, like,
but no,
you can
because like
in a small city like Moncton for so many years until finally you've been through everybody. Went through the interview process, through everybody that nice and who's not. Like, after a while, you've pretty much went through all the serious people, and if you're hurting them because of like some weird bullshit thing, and you think you're gonna replace them, like, nah, Moncton is not that big. Like, you've been through everybody already.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. Like, after a while, when the dust settled of these centers opening and closing, yeah, it got to a point where, like, I had been through everybody, and, like, I'm like, oh shit, this is it. The ones that are here to stay, and the ones that are gone, and there's no new ones popping open to jump in on. But man, I played the role so well. Like, I played interested. I would get top scores. I was the top of the class in every one of these training modules. Like, and I would try and aim for the ones that were like 3 months long, and I would be like the best. And then it would be that day when you go out on the floor and they're like, this is it, you're gonna take your first call, Jay's gonna do it, and I would just be like, I can't do it, bye. And I would like run away. And I don't know, I would get overwhelmed with this anxiety feeling of, you know, there's gonna be another human on the other end of this line who is angry, and that's why they're calling in. And if they ain't angry calling in, then they're gonna be angry with whatever their answer is gonna be. That's kind of what I've gotten from working at call centers. So if you're calling somebody, you're going to piss them off. But if they're calling you, they're only calling because they're pissed off. No one's ever calling because they're happy. Oh, hey, I just love my service. Thanks. It's wanted to call and say
anybody
thank you.
who's ever worked in a call center, this is the biggest lie they tell you in training. They tell you, like, oh, those are one. Well, when you get on that call floor, you realize that 80% of your calls are one-offs. 80% of them. Like, those weird, complicated situations where it's either like the system actually fucked up and it's unfixable, and that weird, like, super angry, will swear at you, will call you a cunt and everything customer. Like, they say, oh, those are one-offs. Yeah, well, guess what? 80% of those are one-offs. They say, oh, this is the routine calls. The routine calls are maybe like 20% of them. That's about it. Yeah. Like the ones that say, oh, I just want to add this one channel. Oh, all I want to do is make this one payment. And then they hang up, and then everything is sunshine and rainbows. You know, like that.
Yeah.
Like those.
That never happens.
Then you realize, like, those nice ones are actually one-offs. And what they called one-offs in trainings are actually routine.
Yeah. So the one who calls in, who's like, I just want to pay my bill. These are like usually like old people who still do things the old way, who haven't figured out the internet and automation. So you're dealing with like a lot of like people who have no idea.
Yeah, and then they want you to sell the internet to that person.
Oh,
like some evil way.
Man, okay, check this out. So I have this is probably one of the craziest call center stories that I have. So I was working at a place, and I can't remember the name of it, and if I could, I would say it, because they ended up they operated for 5 or 6 years in Oromocto outside of Fredericton in New Brunswick, and
I think I know of which place.
in
Oromocto. No, I don't. I was thinking Sackville. Okay, Oromocto.
One day, everybody showed up, and overnight they had like cleared out the floor. They had taken all the computers they could take, and they just fucking ran, because the whole 6 years had been a scam. They had been illegally scamming people. None of the money was going towards AT&T, like we said. So we were calling people. Let's say you're with Bell, and I would call and be like, oh, hi, this is, and I would just say, this is your phone provider. And we're calling into the States where people switch so much that they get to a point where they don't even know who they're with anymore. Oh, are we with Sprint or are we with AT&T? I don't know. We were Sprint last year and we switched over to AT&T. So we wouldn't even say who we are. We would just say, oh, hi, it's your phone provider. And they would go, oh, hi. And then we would go, oh, yeah, we just wanted to like upgrade you to the new system, and we just need your permission to upgrade you. And they would go, yeah, sure, I'll take an upgrade. There, we've captured them saying yes to the upgrade. We've captured it on recording. That's all we needed. Next thing you know, they're now switched over to a whole new phone company. But what was happening was there was no even phone company, and it took them like, 5 or 6 years to figure out that this company had been scamming people for 5 or 6 years straight, taking their credit card numbers and just fucking scamming all their credit cards. But they paid.
So basically, this is what I'm figuring it is. It's a company that had figured out a system, just to make a system to just take people's information to just take the payment. So they're not providing the service. Like their actual telephone carrier is still providing the service and everything.
Oh yeah.
And they just think like, and you're just basically taking their information, putting it into your system.
Yep.
And now you're taking the payments. And as representatives, you have no idea this is what you're doing. Right.
As a representative on the floor, like, we're just helping people get a better plan is what we're doing in our minds. But what was really, like you said, what was really happening is, like, we're just taking their information and then taking over the payments, and then eventually their phones are going to get disconnected by whoever they were with before because the payments were no longer going through. But why did it take 5 or 6 years to figure this out, for the hammer to come down, for this company to, like, have to clear out the office building late one night while everybody was at home asleep? And everyone showed up the next day and the doors were locked and you could see just shredded paper everywhere. But, like, they had, like, there was hundreds of people who worked here, and there was hundreds of admin, there was hundreds of team leaders and all this kind of shit. So here was my thing. I'm not a very good sales guy, man. So, like, I would get on the phone and I'm like, yo, it's your phone provider. And they're like, I don't want any. And I'm like, okay, cool. And I hang up, And I'm like, hi, this is Jay from, and they're like, no. And I'm just like, okay, not a problem, sir. Thank you. Bye. And I would hang up. So, like, that was my sales tactic. I'm like, if they really want it, they'll take it. And so I would sit, and as the calls are coming through, I would draw in a little notepad, and I was drawing, like, graffiti and just cool things for the rap band that I was in. We were doing, like, album covers and things like that, because there's a lot of time that's passing. And my team leader comes by and he's like, you're not doing well enough to be able to draw. And he takes my drawings away. And I'm like, oh, no, you didn't. So I wait till he goes to the bathroom, and I go over and I take my drawings back off his desk and I bring them back. He comes by again. He's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm drawing, man. Like, there's nothing going on. Like, there's no calls coming through. The calls that are coming through, no one's really, like, biting. Like, the fish aren't biting. He's like, come with me.
Yeah, like, if I'm sitting here staring intensely at my screen, it's not going to make me more productive.
Yeah.
And that the second thing here, this is the thing about call centers. Like, that one was it was a scam call center, though, which is weird, but, like, a real legit one. This is the thing. A lot of times you're treated like the managers act like they're teachers, and you feel like a student back in school.
Yeah.
A lot of times.
Yeah.
Like, they tell you, like, bullshit lies. They try to make you believe stuff, and it's just like, can you stop talking to me in bullshit and just, like, be direct? And, like, you had some that were actually, like, direct. Like, they're like, look, I understand this is bullshit. You just want us to do this now. Can you just please do it? And I would actually do it because I would respect. But the one that actually, like, believed, oh, well, we're going in this direction, and blah, 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 we're doing this and that and that. And I'm just like, and I see holes in a lot of that stuff. I'm like, okay, no, like, what you're really asking me to do is because of this and this and this and this. And they're like, no, we're just like, look, you know what I'm saying is true, and I know what you're saying is bullshit. Just please do it like this from now on. Just say that, and I'll beg you don't do it like that. But like, that whole, like, being talked to a child, like that guy taking your drawings away like you're in class.
Yeah.
And, like, what's he gonna do? Like, write a note to your mom? Like, oh, like, Jason has been unattentive at the calling center today.
Well, they do, because they keep a file on you. And
like, is there, like, a parent-teacher thing?
They keep a file on every employee and all the things that you've done wrong. And then, so after I took it back, he hauled me into this back office where his boss was. So the boss of the team leader. And the team leader's, so Jason, what's going on? And I was like, I don't know, this guy's being an asshole. And he goes, "That's it. You don't talk to my team that way. You don't talk to my leaders like that. Get out of here." And then they're like, "No, you're not even... Call in security." And they had 2 security guards come in to take me. Now, hang on a sec. Let's rewind to the day that I went into class. Look, I'm even calling it a class. The day that I went to work, my girlfriend... See, I normally would go with another buddy. We would kind of like carpool together, but he wasn't going that day. So another friend, my girlfriend was like, "Yo, take my car to work because it's a snowstorm. There's a blizzard tonight and you're gonna want like a good stable car." Well, then my other friend was like, "Yo, my car broke down." And this is the guy I was in a band with. He also worked there. And he was like, "Yo, my car broke down. Can I get a ride with you?" So I was like, "All right." And so he was getting upset when he saw me hold into this office. So now I'm at this work. This guy's depending on me as his ride home. And we're talking like in a full like 8-hour shift from now. So like it's nighttime. We're doing the night shift. Things had just started. I got hauled away into this office. It's a blizzard outside. And the guy on the floor, my buddy, is expecting me to be here in 8 hours to drive him home. They wouldn't even let me go back to my desk to get my winter coat. And I was like, "It's a fucking blizzard outside. You're going to throw me outside without a coat? I'm in a t-shirt, for fuck's sakes." Also, this
is all because you did drawings.
Because
I
was drawing at my desk.
Like you need 2 security guards to haul your drawing ass out of that building. You're drawing on paper. Like, that's your big crime.
This is my crime.
You call the boss an asshole, but this is the thing, the big boss, this is what they don't question.
It's like,
all right, well, you as a team manager, how did you lose respect so much of your reps that they're calling you assholes now? How did we get to that point? They don't investigate that.
No.
Not at all. Like, they'll
they
never,
don't care.
like, they don't do that.
They don't care at all. So my buddy, he gets up, he goes, "What the fuck?" He goes, "You fired my fucking friend?" And he starts like pushing him. He's pushing this team leader. He's like poking him in the chest, like pushing him. "You fired my fucking friend? You fired my fucking friend? Fuck you. I fucking quit too." And he had the biggest scene. Like, everybody stopped on the floor. He yelled so loud. People were like taking their headphones off, standing up out of their cubicles to watch his little meltdown, and it was awesome. People like cheered as he walked out.
Yeah, that's fun. That's a great day. The best day at work is when somebody has a meltdown. Those are the best days.
But it's funny because like my buddy, like I'm like, "Man, that should have been my meltdown." I was a little jealous. Like, shit, that's my meltdown time, y'all. Like, but the fucking security guards pulled me away, and my buddy ended up bringing my winter coat to me. And at my desk, my drawings, my pencils, all my paper, all my kind of stuff that they wouldn't let me go get. And so he's like, "That's it. Okay, now we both got to go find new jobs." So we had made it out. At least we made it out of that call center before it went down, all the way down. Like, imagine going to work one day and it's like, "Oh, guess what? Your fucking employer was a fraud and has been ripping off like millions and millions of dollars from people while they pay you the absolute minimum that the government requires. Here's your $9 an hour, you little fucking shits."
Oh my God.
Meanwhile, we're gonna shovel our gold into the back of this fucking dump truck and drive away with it. Yeah, it's just a matter of them getting caught. It wasn't too long after we were done there that they got discovered. So maybe there was like that tension in the air, that like that vibration of like, "Oh my God."
I think there was that
like it's going down. It's all going.
I'm thinking that Oromocto wasn't the only one. That they had quite a few, and then they kind of discovered like, okay, they're on to us.
Yeah.
We need to shut them down because they were starting to get investigated. It's kind of like the mob, okay? Like let's say you're a petty thief, all right? And you liquor store one day. They'll break in your house and they'll arrest you right away.
Oh, yeah.
But if you're a mob guy and you've killed 500 people, it's gonna take them like 2-3 years of investigations until they finally arrest you.
Well,
You know what I mean? So
yeah.
And as the mob guy, you know already they're investigating you. Like you have, like you see cars scoping your place, like FBI. Like this is like I'm obviously just saying this from having watched The Sopranos.
Yeah.
But, like,
this is my authority.
like,
I watch
I've
some mob
obviously never been in
shows.
the mob. I don't know about it. Like I love mob movies because to me, like it fascinates me to see like how somebody can get like that powerful, that quick, and it's usually like it's always somebody who's uneducated, who's like extremely smart, because and the word organized crime is not a joke. They're fucking organized.
Yeah.
They're organized as shit. Like they have systems for like everything. You leave the thing here, you leave that there, because if you do that, like that, and like there's a reason for every little thing that they do. Unlike a call center, like a corporation will have like so many, like why are we doing this? Oh, we're just doing this now. Like at the call center, they had this. It was so like like you have to say an opening statement, you have to say a closing statement.
Oh yeah.
And the dumbest one was, so how do you feel about the resolution that we've came with today? Like, you had to say that at the very end. I was like, that is the dumbest shit. That's the dumbest shit. And they say, oh well, because when you say that, it's you're gonna revisit the call. They're gonna think about it. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, that's dumb. I'm like, because every time, like I know about every time that I've called a call center and I've called a company, and like what happened and all that, and I can tell you what happened when I called. I can tell you what the conversation was, but one thing that I cannot tell you is what they said at the start of the call and at the end of the call.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit about that.
Yeah.
I only remember what happened in that middle part. That's the only part that's important, but according to them, it's worth every point how you say the greeting and how you thank them at the end and how you ask them how they felt and all that
Right.
bullshit. It's like,
It's probably important to note right now for people who don't know about a call center is that most of the time when you say shit on the phone, you're being recorded and someone is grading you. Someone is listening and they're grading you and they're like, oh, and they got a little checkbox and they're going over the list like, you didn't say this line. Well,
yeah, you didn't
well,
say
Marty,
this particular word.
come
And sometimes
with
you have
me.
to say a phrase, but you have to say it in colored order. And
If you skip over it,
the
it's all messed up.
rep and they don't get the chance to say the phrase, they get docked. And the thing is like they'll get punished
Yeah.
for not saying that certain bullshit phrase that has nothing to do with your reason for calling.
They take you in the
But
back
if
and
they make a mistake
bullwhip you.
and like give you the wrong channel that you've asked for, or something like that, there like nothing happens to them, nothing at all. Like if they make like a mistake in that middle part,
Yeah.
they'll get like by the way, you didn't put that, but that's okay.
Yeah.
But like you're only graded, they only listen for the words.
Yep.
That's what they listen for. They listen for that word, those words, and they listen for that sale. Like, did you try to upgrade them on something? Did you try to up them on?
Did you try and make us some more money
And
during
a lot of
this
times
call? I'm like, no, I didn't. I'm
Yeah.
like, if they really want it,
It's
they'll
like,
call in.
no.
If they really want call display, they'll call in and ask for some fucking call display. That's how it goes down. You don't call
Exactly.
them and
That
tell
was
them.
my point every time. Like, there's nobody out there that doesn't know about the internet. There's nobody out there that doesn't know. Like, if you've got like something brand new that people don't know about, sure, yeah, I'll pitch to that. You know?
Yeah. But
Like, hypothetically, if I go to McDonald's and I don't know if they make cookies, they'll say, well, do you want a cookie? I'll be, oh, you have cookies? I didn't know. Or do you guys want to try our new, like, triple bacon burger here that we have? Like, I did not know you had that. Like, maybe I would. Like, I didn't know about it, but if I go to McDonald's and they say, well, would you like to try a Big Mac? Like, bitch, I know you got a Big Mac. If I would have wanted a Big Mac, I would have asked for a Big Mac. And this, by the way, for so that people don't get offended when I said bitch. That could be a guy or a girl. Like, it doesn't.
I thought that's just what you called all people in the service industry from now on.
No, because I know that the people in the service industry, when they say, sometimes like people who've never worked in the service industry think that people in the service industry are actually into it. Like, no, they're not. They are not into this whole bullshit. Would you like to? No. And no, I'm sorry, sir. This is our policy. And no, I apologize. Blah, blah, blah. Like, they're not in on it.
No, they're like the bottom feeders. They're the front line. They're going out to get slaughtered before anyone else. Everyone else is hiding in the fucking closet, in the back room, in the office, and in the kitchen,
whatever. For that.
And then if you're on the front line,
that person whose face you never see, ask to see that person. Like, if you're angry, never ever take it out on the rep. No. Always ask for a manager. Always ask for a boss.
Yeah.
And yell at them.
Because, you know what?
And tell the boss that employee is doing a good job.
Yeah.
Always tell them that, and then yell at them.
Yeah.
Like always say that. Like, it's... And I was watching this thing. It was a documentary. Not a documentary. It was like I think it was a documentary because it's like from Britain. It's one of those like Britain mini-series. It's called Rostered. And it's only 7 episodes. And it's about them working. It's a store that's kind of like Best Buy.
Oh, yeah.
But it's everything. Like, people that never worked in the customer service think it's far-fetched. I watched that. I'm like, holy shit, everything in that is true. And in the first episode, there's a woman, she wants to return a digital camera. And he's like, why? She said, because it takes blurry pictures. And he takes a picture with it, and it's like, it's not blurry. See, it's really fine. She said, well, we went driving, me and my husband, and it was like taking pictures, and it was blurry. And driving. And she's like, yeah. It's like, okay, well, that's why they were blurry. See, you have, like, if you don't drive around, like, if you move the camera really quick while you take a picture, it's going to be a little bit blurry. But see, like, I'm taking it right now, and you see how clear that is? It's like, yeah, well, it's not working right, because it was taking blurry pictures the other day. I was like, fine. Do you have the box? She's like, no. Do you have a receipt? She's like, no. I said, well, I cannot return it. She said, well, it's defective. She said, well, no, it is not, because I just proved, so it's store policy, I cannot return, I cannot process your return.
Yeah.
And then she asked for the manager. So he goes in the back, he asked the manager, who's like eating an apple like a douche.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, she wants to talk to you. She's like, why? Well, because she wants to return the camera. It's like, well, is it defective? It's like, no. Does she have a receipt? No. Does she have the box? No. Well, then, so you can't. She said, well, he said, well, I told her that. That's why she wants to talk to you now. And he's like, well, just process the return. He said, well, I just told her I can. And, like, it's policy. Like, we can't. I'll just do it. Just do it. And then he comes back to the customer like a sap, and he says, I spoke to the manager, and we'll do this one-time exception of giving you the credit. And then the customer says, see, it's a good thing I told you to go see him, because you didn't know what you were doing, and the manager told you, yeah, you can process it. So now you're going to do it.
Yeah.
Don't you have anybody here that works that knows what they're doing? And then, like, the customer goes off on this, like, I was right, you were wrong thing. And he just, like, kind of flips at the customer. But I've had that all the time, where I'm like, no, it's policy. Like, you can't get an brand new iPhone for free. They're $400. Like, well, I've been a customer for 2 years. I was like, okay, cool. But obviously, like, this company's not going to be making any money off of you.
No, man. And, yeah, I've been through that.
You don't want to pay for the brand new iPhone.
I've totally been...
And then they yell at you for an hour.
Yeah.
And you ask the manager, like, they want it for free. Like, no, you can't. I'm like, okay. And then, like, no, you can't. And then you say, well, I want to speak to the manager. Then you come to the manager. You say, oh, well, then just give it the credit. Tell them it's a one-time. And the customer says, the thing I told you to talk to the manager, blah, blah, blah.
Well, the thing is that they want you on the front line trying to save them as much money as possible. So they don't want to be a bad guy either at the same time. They want to be like a good...
Yeah.
They want to have the good guys, but they need you to try your damnedest to dissuade everybody. So when you're standing there like, no, we can't do that. Okay, I want to talk to a manager. Maybe the manager can do that. And then you go get the manager, and this guy comes in like a knight in shining white armor, and he's glowing, and he's like, dun, 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 dun. Hi there. What's the trouble? Oh, don't worry about it. We'll replace that for you. No receipt? Don't care. You might not have even bought it here, but you know what? We're going to have a good name. I'm going to walk the high road, and I'm going to help you out. And I'm going to take this damaged piece of garbage, and I'm going to send it back to where it came from. Somewhere, someone is going to get a partial payback for a piece of broken device, that if maybe they can track it back to where it came from. And that manager gets to look like a good guy, and you get to look like a piece of shit who can't do anything as you stand there with your head down.
Getting yelled at.
For
something you're told you should not do.
Yep. And I remember specifically...
I got yelled, and that was my big thing. But this is the thing, is when the manager doesn't come on the phone, they make you go back on it and say, oh yeah, the manager said okay. That's where my problem was. Well, why did I just get yelled at for an hour for them finally, letting them win in the end? If you're gonna do these, you could have made me do it 5 minutes into the call. I could have not been yelled at. I'd be in a better mood right now. But right now I'm gonna be pissed off for 2 days because you let me get yelled at.
Yeah.
For you doing a stupid exception. And then this is the thing, they actually have the balls, at the end of the month, to say, well, you're giving away too much credits. They actually have the balls to say that. And in roster, what it was is when he went to return the camera, the guy in the shipping in the warehouse was like, well, you can't return that because there's no receipt, there's no box, so you shouldn't have taken that return. Yeah. Well, the supervisor told me to do it. Well, no, you can't. You can't do it. And it's so you're caught between everything. So this is the thing at the call center. They would tell me, oh, do it after you got yelled at for an hour, do it. And then afterwards at the end, they would have the balls to tell you, well, you're giving away too much credits. This is how much you gave. Yeah, because you fucking told me to give those. You told me,
It's a never-ending cycle, though, too, man. It just keeps going around and around and around, and it coils all the way back up to the top of the company. So the owner of the company is yelling at the guy beneath him, whatever you do, fucking, we better make an extra $1 million this year. And that guy's going, oh, God. And he's shitting his pants, thinking he's going to get fired. And he's looking at, the 3 people under him and telling them, whatever you do, y'all better make this $1 million, or else you're all getting fired. And it just keeps coiling down and spiraling outward until you've got the frontline agents or store clerks who are just running around always with this constant anxiety and constant fear that it's all going to come crashing down if they just fucking didn't dot one I and cross one T properly. It's all over. They're out of a job.
And this is how a multi-million corporation works. It's basically nobody owns it after a while. It's just a money-making machine. Yeah. That's all it is. And then when they say there's a loss, and they say, oh, we've lost $3 million this year. Yeah, that's because you made, let's say hypothetically, after paying the employees and everything, right? Right. Paying all the expenses and all that, the net profit is, let's say, $230 million this year. Well, last year was 235, so we lost $5 million. No, you fucking made 230 million. Yeah. Yeah. You made 230 million. How much money do you fucking need?
Hang on a sec here. I just gotta stop this for a sec. And we're back. Yeah, so, man, I worked at Walmart. I worked for Walmart, and this is how they played it. Was okay, let's say you are a guy who makes toothpicks, right? And you sell Walmart a package of toothpicks for 25 cents. They sell it for $5. If someone steals that package of toothpicks, they're claiming a loss of $5. They're not claiming they lost 25 cents, which is all they paid for it. They're claiming the upsell value. They're claiming the retail value.
They're claiming what somebody would have actually paid for it if they would have bought those toothpicks.
Right, they're not.
And if there's a bunch of items they cannot sell that they have to return,
Yep.
Or like they have to like lower the prices sometimes almost as low as what they paid for just to get rid of it, just to make shelf room.
Yep.
That's not considered a loss.
But if they marked it down, it's not a loss. But if someone steals it, it's a loss for sure. I know because
it's a $5 loss. But then that $5 toothpick, if they have to bring the price down to $1 to bring in the new 2018 toothpicks.
To make the space. That's the cost of doing business.
It's not a $4 loss. It's a 75-cent gain.
Exactly. Yeah. Which is, and I mean, that's just toothpicks. That apply that to all the products, because I worked in the electronics department when we had the highest amount of theft out of the whole store. But that's just because of the nature of the department had a lot of higher ticket items. So you could go in and someone could easily take something off the shelf worth $500. And there is this guy who is like the master thief. And he would come in and, you know, we were like instructed like, yo, if that guy comes in, like you stop what you're doing and you follow him around everywhere. And then you call this code. And the code it didn't even mean anything. It was just something that you would say. You would say, oh, camera 5 on aisle 9 in electronics. And that didn't mean anything. It just meant that, oh, somebody come to electronics because that motherfucker is here again. That's all it meant. It was like a secret code.
Yeah, well, that's what a code name is. That's what a code word is.
So I walked right up to
like,
this.
Oh, my door handle is stuck. That means like that fucker's here again.
I walked right up to the guy with the phone in my hand, and I was like, code 8 at electronics. And I was like, that's you, buddy. You're code 8. No matter where you go in this store, you're code 8. In all the departments, when you hear code 8, that's because you just walked in the room. And he's like looking at me like, what? And this guy would like come in and try and like buy something for like $300. He'd pretend to be like, oh no, I'm just a regular shopper. And we're like, dude, we're already on to you. Like, we know you're the guy who steals the fucking whole fucking store. We know you're so good at it. And this guy could go in and just like zoop, zoop, zoop. And he could pull those magnetic locks, you know, that are like a wire and a magnet. And he needs a special key. He had these magic little fingers that would just zip, zip, zip. He would have that box open, have the item out, and the box put back up on the shelf, looking like it had never been opened. Like, he was so good. And later,
like a magician.
Yeah, like a magician. Later, you would open the box, and you're like, how the fuck did he get that out? Like, he didn't even wrinkle the corners or anything, and he had the item out. And, he was so good. That's why we had to follow him around. And you would follow him, and be like, oh, and I would chat with him, but I would be straight up. I'm like, yo, dude, we all know you're the guy who steals. Like, that's why I'm following you right now. I'm not actually here to help you. I'm literally just watching you until someone else gets here, a manager who's going to watch you. And then I'm going to go back and stand at that fucking desk over there and bring some shit through for people so that, you know, my time is more, you know, being used properly instead of fucking watching you and your bullshit. I'm like, you know, I got shit to do. And I would like tell him everything too. Like, you know, I got actual shit to do, motherfucker. Like, you are giving me a bad night. I'm not gonna have my shit done on time. So I would like just, you know, get mad at him.
This is his big mistake. This is the thing. That guy was so good, and his big mistake is getting greedy, because he kept coming back. That's his big mistake. If he would have only gone once, nobody would have known what the fuck happened. Why is this box empty?
Yeah.
And you would have only like discovered like 2-3 days later. You would have not looked back at the tapes.
Right.
You know, but then he went there too much, and he started being a pattern.
Yeah, but I mean, to not have a pattern, he was being hired by other people in town, and he would like, you know, it's like, oh, I need a Nintendo Wii controller, and you would tell this guy like, yo, go get me a Nintendo Wii controller, and I'll give you whatever, $10. And he would go steal the controller and bring it to you, and you'd give him $10. Instead of paying the $50 for a controller, you pay him the $10. So he was like a hired thief. He wasn't stealing it for himself. He was stealing shit for everyone else. He wasn't just
but this is the thing. Like, he kept going back at the same places.
Right, but if you understand the law of corporation like Walmart, you need to steal over $5,000 worth of shit before it becomes criminal. So everything before that and under that amount, there was nothing we could do. We couldn't even call the police. You couldn't call anyone. Like, you just had to literally, you had to catch him in the act on video. And then half of our video cameras were illegal. They weren't allowed. They were like the wrong angles and things like that. So like a lot of that shit is there to scare you. And, you know, they'll pull you in the back and show you the video. Look, we got you. Just admit it. And it's like, well, if you got me, why do I gotta admit it? It's like, if your all video is so like solid, then that's it. Like, then I'm caught. Otherwise, I'm out of here, you know? And this guy knew all his rights. He knew
that must be why. That makes sense now for Walmart. Because I went one time, like a few years ago, I had lost my wallet, and I knew I lost it at Walmart. Because I was at home. I had it. I had $300 in it. I had worked like a cash job. Okay, so I had $300 in it. It was a few years ago. Hope government tax agency's not listening. But anyways, I didn't pay those taxes because I lost that $300. Now, I went to Walmart at 9 o'clock on the Sunday night. There was like hardly any people, so I parked in that parking spot like 2 spots from the handicap parking spot.
Yeah.
Like 2 spots away from it. So I know exactly what parking spot that I parked. So I parked my car there, went inside, got my item, took my wallet out to pay for my item, which was about $50. And then I walked away, put my item in the trunk, and drove home. And I drove home. I didn't get out of the car yet. Okay, I was still sitting in my car. So I sat in my car at Walmart, drove home. I was sitting in the driveway in my car, and I realized, oh shit, my wallet is not in my pocket.
Yeah.
So I looked in the car like right away. I didn't go out. I looked in the car right away. Could not find it anywhere under the seat and everything. And just so people know, my car is always super clean. Okay, I mow CD. Everything's always super clean. So if that's clean, I could not find it between the seats or anything like that. I still got that same car to that day.
Yeah.
It's not in that car. No. I drive right back to Walmart. I go in that same parking space. I go look. There's no wallet there. There's no wallet in that space. So, because I'm thinking I got my keys were in my same pocket as my wallet. I have it like on a little hook. So I thought maybe like when I took out my keys, it might have dropped out my wallet at the same time. It was not in the parking spot. So I go look inside. That cashier is gone. She's not there anymore.
She's out spending your money. She's spending your money.
So I'm thinking there's only 2 places that wallet can be: when I took it out to pay for my item, or when I took out my keys to put my item back in the trunk. Those are the only 2 possible places.
Yeah.
Okay? So my wallet is somewhere between that cash register and my car. Like that walk from the cash register in my car. Like that's where my wallet would have been. It's the only place.
Right.
Okay? That's the only distance, because the last time I saw it was in the cash register and I was sitting in my car. I did not have it anymore.
So
right? Yes, I did move my car from Walmart to home, but I didn't have it anymore. So it's either it dropped in the parking lot, somebody took it, or I left it at the cash and the cashier just took it.
Right.
So I called Walmart the next day. I talked to somebody there at Walmart.
Yeah.
They say call back tomorrow. So I call the next day, and they're saying, well, no, like it's basically like maybe the cashier took it, or maybe it was in the parking lot, someone took it, but maybe you guys could like maybe ask the cashier, like, no, we're not doing that. Like, well, can we? Is there like, don't you guys have like security cameras or something like that? Like, could we look at last night's security cameras, maybe for the parking lot or that, to see like who would have taken it? And they refused.
Oh yeah.
They refused to look at those security cameras. Like if my shit is lost, you don't give a shit about that. But if my shit is lost, then you're definitely going to be looking at those cameras.
Yeah. Right.
But if my shit is lost, like there's no way we are looking at those cameras, and that I think that pissed me off more than my losing my actual wallet, having to replace my bank card, having to replace my license, which costs like $30.
But like keep in mind, man, some of those cameras don't have cameras in them. They're just there just to like, you know, just to like scare the public, to scare you. And
yeah, but they could have just said like, okay, like we've only got like this one on the cashier. Then I would have seen. Then you could have actually just not even tell me, but just like show me, but just tell me like, look, we saw you put your wallet back in your pocket. So that way we know that our employee did not actually steal your wallet. Like, there was zero concern about that. What if the employee took it? There was zero concern about that at all. Because that was a possibility.
Well, I would probably, I don't know, man. I wouldn't, I mean, people left that kind of shit all the time. People left their credit cards, their bank cards. People left all kinds of shit that, I don't know. I never swiped them. I would just put them in the drawer, and then someone would be like, hey, did Mr. Green leave a credit card? And I would say, yeah, it's right here in the drawer, in the lost and found drawer. So
yeah, because I did call, like, I did ask, like, that's the first thing I asked, like, before the cameras. I asked, like, did you guys get a wallet? This is the name, my driver's license was in it. Like, did you guys find that? And they said no. I'm like, okay, well, I did tell the story, like, there's only two possible ways. Like, it's either I left it at the cash or I dropped it when I put my stuff in the car. Like, is there, like, any video cameras or like that? Oh, no, those are private. What do you mean those are private? Like, can't you look at it? I can even tell you the exact time that it happened. Like, I've got the receipt right here. I've got the time that I was at cash and everything. No, like, none of it.
Right. Yeah, because they could have checked, and they could have checked what cash it was, and they could have asked the employee who's working there, because she's probably still in the building. She might just be on a break. They give you, like, weird breaks systems. And, yeah, sometimes you're, like, you're there, and you've only just started, like, 15 minutes, and they're like, okay, I need you to go take your first break. Because we have to give breaks to 6 other people, so you have to take your break right away. I know you just got here, and I'm so sorry, but you got to go take your break now.
Because the rush is this time, and we need this many people between that time and that time.
And we're going to need you back later for this and that. And you're like, oh, like, I just got in the groove. Like, I just got flowing. I just got moving with whatever the task was all the time. You just get into that flow, and someone would come, no, don't do that anymore. No, come over here and start this. No, not quick enough. Come start this. Oh, leave that. Don't worry, someone else will pick that up later. Come start this. And man, this is where talent and skill comes into play, because I was like really good at merchandising. I was really good at like tearing down a whole shelf, relabeling everything, and popping that shit back up, all organized and neat looking and nice, because like I have that kind of like that store OCD, and like this is the weirdest shit. Like I'll be walking through the store like I was last night, and I'm like reaching over and lining up the items on the shelf as I walk by. Like I see one like out of place, and I'm like, oh, whoop, and I'll, oh, geez, that Mr. Clean bottle is twisted sideways a little bit. I should probably just adjust that. Yeah, okay, that looks good.
I do that sometimes, like when I do groceries, like if it's like neatly lined up, I'll take an item, but then I'll take like the next one and I'll line it up.
Yeah, like
I don't the one that was behind, and I'll like.
I don't even work. I'm not even getting paid to do it, and still doing it. So it's like, what the fuck am I doing? I'm really good at that kind of shit, man. And then by management noticing, they would do special little things like, okay, I don't care who calls you. You're not going anywhere. You're going to go do this aisle. You're going to do this project that I'm putting you on. It's going to take you 8 hours to do this project, and you're not going anywhere else in the store. I'm going to go talk to everyone, because there's like managers of your department, and then there's these little customer service managers who have these yellow vests who run around, and they can come grab you out of anywhere at any time and make you do something else that's not even in your job description. Like what you're like, oh, like no, like I work in toys and toys is all I know. They're like, I don't care. You're gonna come work in electronics and try and answer electrical questions and shit, or we're gonna put you in paint. You're gonna have to figure out how to run a paint mixer. in the next 5 minutes, like, and figure out how to mix colors and shit, you know? Like, they really had no...
Yeah.
Like, they really just look at everybody as just being, like, able to grab from anyone at any point and pull them into any department. So, this manager, though, she would, like, go around, she's like, yo, Jay's fucking busy, you ain't using him, I don't care, find something else. And we would have these little pagers, and the little pager would come on, like a little walkie-talkie, and she was like, give me that pager, you're not getting paged, you're gonna do this fucking shit I want you to do, and that's it. And I'm like, yes, you know, because then you can go in, you know what your time frame is, you set it all up, you do your own breaks, you manage your own day, you manage when you're gonna take your own lunch, and then no one fucks with your shit. You just go in, do it, get out. 8 hours goes by and you've torn down a wall and built up a new wall. You know, you've got something of accomplishment to look at. You feel like you're valuable. You don't feel like just another like random cog in the wheel. Like, what did I do all day? Oh, over here I lined up some movie things, and then I lined up some toilet paper, and then I took some cash from people and put it in a box, and then I, you know, like, I don't know. It's such a weird environment.
It's kind of like when you shovel after a snowstorm and then you want to like look at it. You want to look at your trail that you did.
Yeah, you want to like feel proud.
Especially when you do like a nice wide one. You know, you get all to the ground. You know, like that 1 hour and a half. Like I've shoveled my ass off.
Yep.
Work, and you just like look at it and you're like happy about it. You've put snow further so that when the next storm comes in, you're going to be able to put snow there. Like that, neatly organized.
You're
like
planning ahead. You're planning ahead for the next storm already. Oh,
yeah,
God.
yeah, exactly. And then you just go to the window with your hot chocolate and you're just like looking at it for like 15 minutes type thing, because you're like happy about that thing you made.
Yep. And then you realize, you're like, oh shit, it's now 7:30. I have a half hour to get to my job at Walmart before they fire me. Or the call center. Oh shit. Oh, and like you, just to touch down on something you said earlier, there doesn't ever seem to be a way to get fired. Like, you need to have to like been told like 20 or more times about something, like, you know, like, oh, gonna have to write you up. I noticed you didn't say
it's weird
please,
because like when you want to get fired, you can't get fired. When you're actually trying to get fired, you can't.
It doesn't happen. I've tried so many times.
You try to get fired, so you know, for the compensation for the people, and yeah, it's impossible to do. I've done it successfully once, but it's super hard to do. And then you see like people who want to keep the job, who don't want to get fired, and you're like, oh, you fucking lucky bastard.
Yeah.
And they're like devastated, they're crying, and you're just like, okay, like, see, like, I want that. See, I wouldn't be crying.
Can we switch?
Just fire me and keep this person. Like, they want to be here. I don't want to be. The person who wants to be there can easily get fired. The person who is actually trying to get fired, because you're smart enough to actually try to get fired, it's like they know you're smart enough to do the job, so they don't want to get rid of you.
They don't want to lose.
So you only do that little, like, you do that like borderline thing, like you don't want to necessarily be an asshole to the customers, you know? Like there's that thing as a human, like, I don't want you to suffer for that thing I'm trying to do. And then, like, and if you take it that step too far, you're gonna get like that fired, like not in a good way fired, like that fired. Whereas like, if like every time you apply for a job, everybody's gonna know that you like called the prime minister like a fucking douche right in his face or something like that. You know,
Yeah,
like that weird thing.
You've crossed over the line, and you're now like, you're that, on the list. Like you're on a list thing somewhere. You're not getting in anywhere. And
it's like it's almost like the equivalent of like a police officer wanting to be fired so they kill somebody just so they can get booted. You know, like that like line too far type of thing.
Yeah, I mean that's what it takes though.
Obviously, it's not that drastic, but
that's what it takes at a call center. You gotta like kill someone. You gotta kill a manager, and even then they're like, he was kind of an asshole, so we might let that slide.
Look, this is your final warning, Lynn. I've got like 5 of those already.
One more killing, Marty, and you're out of here. I'm putting my foot down this time. This is it. This is the last killing, Marty. You're not killing
again.
Serious.
And then, look, we're gonna give you like one last chance. I'm like, you said that like 6 months ago. This was my last chance. Like, why are you fucking keeping me on here? It's because you know I'm gonna fucking quit eventually.
Well, it's because they know that there's this thing of you don't quit your job until you find a new one, and they know you haven't quit. So since you haven't quit, they know you haven't found a new job. So you're gonna kind of hang on to this one and ride it out as long as possible. But there's another thing that I wonder about in like the sense of karma and creating this weird karma for other people. If you are knowingly staying in a place that you hate and that you are going to leave eventually, you're just kind of prolonging this suffering, and you're stringing everybody along, and you're kind of stretching it out and making everyone go through the motions, and you're a miserable piece of shit every day, and it makes everyone else miserable.
Well, it's that thing I was saying at the start where people said, you know what, like the vibe was actually more positive when you were like upstairs in the past week, and I was like, shit, I'm actually affecting everybody.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like some of them are brand new, but like because I know I'm gonna quit, my attitude is like even more shitter than usual. I resent this job even more.
Oh,
so, and like I'm lucky, like right now I'm doing like what I love, and like I get to do comedy, and I get to work at the Pays de la Savoine, and I get I get to do all that. Like it's like I'm super lucky. I get to do what I love. And for people working in a corporation, a call center, or like any corporation really, like it's, if you're frontline, like I'm always gonna be nice to you because I know how shitty that is.
Mm-hmm.
And like for people who've never done that, be nice to those people because they are not doing it because they're into it. Right. They're not being shitty to you because they're into it. They're being shitty to you because if they're not shitty to you, they lose their job.
Yeah, if they have to be nice.
Basically depend on that job.
They have to be nice. Like, they have to. They're not just being nice because they're nice people sometimes. I mean, sometimes you can try and...
If you ask for a manager and then they come back and they say, oh, well, we'll do one exception, it's like, no, give me the manager. And then yell at the manager to say, like, okay, like, you're doing an exception now. Why didn't you let this rep do an exception from the start?
Right.
Because you're telling them not to do this particular thing, and now I had to be here for a half an hour and ask for you.
Yeah. Yo, there's another thing. It's easier. Okay.
This poor person couldn't do it.
You can't just hire nice people either, because nice people have too much empathy and they'll give away a bunch of free shit all the time. That's like me. Like, I got into a position of power where I was able to give away free shit, and I fucking gave it all away. I gave away as much free shit as I could before getting in, and I never got in trouble, but I got spoken to in a weird way where people were like, what's going on? Like, you have the 100% callback, where everybody's calling back and going like, wow, that was the best experience of my life talking with Jay, and he really hooked me up and really helped me out. And they're like, we feel like you're giving away a bunch of shit, but you've got so much positive ratings that we can't really say anything negative about you giving away a bunch of shit right now. But, like, you know, just keep in mind, we are watching the shit you're giving away. And this was when I had worked at a different call center for a phone company in Canada called Rogers. And I gave away free phone plans for a year. I gave away free voicemail. I wiped people's bills, hundreds and thousands of dollars. I just wiped them clear. I did all kinds of cool shit. I'm like, yo, you want like, how about a brand new phone? And I would just mail them out a phone. How about I wipe out all your debt from the phone? Oh, cool, thanks. You know?
Yeah, like that. It's not my money, I don't care thing.
No, it's like, not my money. This is a super, $1 trillion company that doesn't really need it. So, oh, look, there's a new headphone set that comes out that goes with your phone. I'm going to mail you those headphones. Oh, wow, cool, thanks.
And
Well, actually, I work for that same call center, and I used to do this joke. Like I say, like I work for a call center. I'm not allowed to say what the name is legally, so I can tell you it sounds a lot like Mr. Rogers without the word Mister.
yeah. I don't give a fuck though. I will
That's
just
like
say
my on-stage joke. That's
I
how
would-
I get into it.
I'll just say that I worked for Rogers because this was at a time, man, and this was like pretty nasty. And I might have talked about this in my solo cast on the first episode, but I don't know. I had a seizure. I had a seizure, and I had to take all these hospital visits. I had to go and get doctors and blood work done, and I had all this shit. And then the boss at Rogers was like, yo, we're gonna have to let you go, man. And I was like, what? And they're like, yeah, you're having too many doctor's appointments. And I was like, yeah, but that was the last one. And he goes, nah, we have this feeling like because of your condition, you're gonna be needing a lot more doctor's appointments in the future, and we just can't have people like that working here. People who need to go to the doctor a lot can't work here because of scheduling. And so they're like, yeah, just kind of clear out your desk and you can go home. And I was just like, you know,
See, that's the thing. You weren't trying to get fired.
no, I
And
wasn't.
you got fired, right?
I didn't
like,
do-
I
I-
tried, and
Yeah.
I couldn't at all.
I was just, you know, I had all the power in the
Because that's
world.
the place where I said I wanted to flip a computer. Like, that's like, and I was honest about it too. You wanted, like, if I get one more condescending, I'm gonna flip a computer.
Yeah.
That was the thing, and I was missing like a shitload of days, like a gig. Well, guess what? If my schedule is conflicting with that gig, I am calling in sick. That's what I was doing.
Yeah.
I was just doing that.
Yeah, I wasn't even.
And I
wasn't
just-
even doing that. I was like working all my shifts perfectly, getting paid, and every time you got a new skill set, you got like an extra 25 cents an hour, and I was getting all the way up there, and I was having all this power, and then it just crashed with those hospital visits, man. Having to take the time off, it just threw everything out of whack, and they're like, we don't want this guy around here.
Because I was like not caring, not giving a shit, being negative, and like like my last year, I'm like, if they can fire me, it would be cool. And could not. They did not. Like, it's so weird. Like I said, like that's the perfect example of what I was saying. Like if you're trying to get fired, that won't work. But meanwhile, like some people are getting fired or dropping like flies while I was there. And meanwhile, mine like sucked and like nothing at all. I didn't care about sales or like, oh my, like why didn't you upgrade them to that? I'm like, because they didn't want it. Because well, how do you know they didn't want it? I'm like, because they didn't call for it. Didn't call.
Yeah.
Like, oh, well,
yeah.
you didn't have intranet. You could offer them intranet. I'm like, it's 2017.
They have it.
2017, you're not subject to TV, then that means you don't need the intranet. Okay, it's not something new that they've never heard about.
Yeah.
Like, people know it's out there. Okay, we're not 2002, whereas like high speed is a new thing. Like that's not it. Like it's the high speed is not a new thing. Like and like that whole thing of I actually had like one of the managers. They were like pushing again like the whole e-billing thing, whereas like they say, oh, you receive your bill in an email. No, you don't. You get an email to say you have to go to your online account to open the bill, and a lot of times like people write PDF to do it. It's actually itself on the website, so it's complicated for a lot of people. And we're like, oh well. We need to subscribe people to e-billing, blah, 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 blah. And that's, once again, we were like 2016. I'm like, it's 2016, okay? People who want it, have it. People who don't want it are not on it.
Yeah.
Okay, like it's not a new thing. It was cute in 2009.
Yeah.
But in 2016...
Man, I always link back to people like my dad who refuses to this day. My dad's like 63 to 65-ish. To this day,
he refuses to do online banking because he thinks it's putting cashiers out of a job and that the banking fees still cost the same. So it's like the bank is charging the same amount that they were charging before when they had to pay all these humans to have a human job, and now they're still charging you the same amount, and the rates are going up all the time to not have to even pay humans anymore. It's like now you have an automated
it's not
system.
Just that, like, how many times our sites hacked? How many times do they go down that you can't access them? All the time. And like at Rogers, like all the time they would like update the website. I'm like, well, there's still a lot of stuff in it that doesn't work right. So as opposed to like changing the look all the time, why can't we just fix what wasn't working at first? Like once you get everything working properly, then change the look. Well, and now like websites today, this is not just Rogers, but like all across the board. You go on a website, you have no idea where you can click and where you can't. Remember back in the day, like this might be like my old man rant, but remember back in the day when you went on a website and you know what a hyperlink was because it was blue?
Yeah.
And everything that wasn't blue, you couldn't click on it. You could only click on the blue stuff.
Yeah.
It's the only thing you could click on. Now you go on a website, well, you go here, and you go there, you go there. Like, how do I know? Like, it's a picture, it's a logo, it's like you have to hover.
Yeah, man, that's what they.
Mouse over to see if possibly you can click in it. Like, they're all complicated. Like, you don't know where you can click and where you can't anymore.
Right.
So I understand
but that's
why
part of
the
it.
old person doesn't want online billing.
Yeah.
They were like pushing us, like put people on online billing, and what a lot of reps would do, because you'd actually get $1 for every time you would put someone on online billing. What they would do is they would actually put you on online billing without you knowing that you were being put on online billing.
Yeah.
And then some people were calling, I haven't gotten the bill in 2 months. Well, you're on online billing. Like, what's that? How do I access that? Well, here's a complicated process.
Yeah. So, what's your email address? My email is simpatico.
Yeah.
Like, oh God, there we go.
Yeah.
I'm at simpatico. And you're like, no, don't tell me this.
No, you got a Yahoo account.
Yeah.
Like,
no, but like, okay, at least Yahoo, you could at least go there and go to like retrieve password and all that. But when it's like, oh, my email is at bell.ca, you know that they're logging in on like Outlook Express or some shit like that, where SMTP servers need to be set up, and none of this shit's been set up on this person's home computer because they don't even know what their email address is. So no one hooked up. They've got 8 billion junk mails that are in there. They're going to need to be processed. It's going to take a couple hours just to filter that through their system. And then they can get the email to reset the password to get their online bill after all that. And it's kind of like, y'all got any grandkids? That's what I used to ask. Y'all got any grandkids or neighbors' grandkids that can come over and help you with this real quick? Because they can get this done in 5 minutes, and it's going to take you 5 hours.
Like some people just like today, like in this day and age, if you don't have online billing, it's because you shouldn't have online billing. Like myself, like all my shit is all online billing. Like it is all there.
Yeah.
And that's because I know how to work it. But if somebody doesn't have it in this day and age, that's because they don't know how to work it.
Yeah.
And they shouldn't be having it. And yeah, I understand that you want to put everybody on online billing. Just just wait 25 years. All right, everybody that doesn't know how to use it will be dead by then.
Yeah.
Law be gone.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just gotta let nature do it for you. So like, don't force somebody who doesn't know what they're doing. And right there, you're actually like, they say, this is how a corporation works. You think like, oh, like this is gonna save us money by having it like on paper. Yes, that looks like it. But this person is gonna be actually tying up the line maybe 1 to 3 hours a month.
Yeah. Because
they don't know how to open their bills, and you have to explain it to them verbally
every month.
And they're gonna have like lots of questions. Like, and this is like time that you're paying to an employee, and I know you're paying so much per call coming in, and this is all like, this is costing more money to the company than it is saving. But on paper, it's like, oh, we've got this many calls coming in, and we've got this many people on online billing, so we're saving money like the people on online billing. So now we to save some more, we need to put more people on it, and and it's always decisions made by somebody who has never done the job, who's never worked the front line, and who will never come close to working the front line, and who will never ask somebody working the front line.
No.
And they have like all these departments up on top. Like there's one who's like an accountant department. They tell everybody like, oh, put everybody on online billing. And then there's this other department that say like, oh, we'll do this instead. Like, and then one is contradicting the other, and it's like this weird thing. And that's how a corporation works, where you've got like, it becomes so big that it's just this money-making machine.
It's a monster.
That nobody is like, and they all say the shareholders. Well, who the fuck are the shareholders?
Motherfucking monster.
Like who? Like, oh, we need to make the shareholders happy. Like I've never seen one of those meetings that like I imagine those like a town hall meeting, like in The Simpsons, where I was like the whole town like angry. But
the whole
like,
crowd.
But no, it's not like some shareholders have been asking blah blah blah. What, you get like 5 emails like asking why is this happening? Yeah. But how many shareholders do you have?
But like
thousands and thousands?
But like you're right, it gets so big that it's just too big to fix. And like you were talking about like even the web service before, like the website itself was getting so congealed and coagulated and just compounded with too much information that it would take a committee, and you'd have to hire a committee with another like little pyramid hierarchy with like, well, I'm the head of the committee, and then these are the 2 people who are under me, and then under them there's a team of researchers, and we're going to figure this out. What are we going to figure out? I don't know. Let's just aim at one of the billions of things that are wrong, but never, they're never going to get to like really fixing the whole overall thing, which where it really just needs to all go in the garbage and start over again. But what they're going to do is try and start these little committees to go in.
People building the website and designing the website are often like someone who's like an extreme gamer who like never spoke to a front line before, but they're like really good at designing websites. So they make a website that they think is great, that looks great, and they show it to the company. Oh, you go here, you do that, and that. Oh, look at that. Well, it works. Blah blah blah. Yeah, but try to figure it out without the explanation. Like you can't, and it's always like somebody who's like an extreme gamer. So that's why I think it's always like hard to find stuff. You have to like click through all these things and do all these things.
Yeah, there's all these menus and sub levels and sub menus and a grid. Yeah.
And this grid that they follow, and that grid is like always like updated, so like it gets like further and further. So like to see your bill, you need to go through 18 steps now. And the thing is, like I used to, when the website was much simpler, I used to use it because whenever somebody would say like, oh, I want to know which channels I get with my package here. Like, oh, well, go here, click there, and you've got the exact list of channels right here. Yeah. And then you just took that away for like no reason at all.
Well, like I tried to help my mom hook up her online banking, and they needed like you said 18 steps to try and figure out how to get your bills in the mail through your online banking. You can get all of your bills can filter through your bank account now, through her bank account anyways. So like her car payment, for example, instead of having to have like 8 different, go to 8 different websites to try and get all of your different bills, they would all cycle through the bank account. And even in order to do that, we had to go to canadapost.ca and register her bank account with Canada Post so that Canada Post would know to send digital
shit in through her bank account, and it got so like weird and complicated that like it hurt my brain looking at this shit. And I'm like, there's no way in the world she ever would have figured that out all by herself, and there's no way that the people who are helping on the phone would be able to explain any of this, you know, because like we're young and we take for granted that we know where everything is. Like when you say click the start button on my computer, like I know you're talking about the little start button on Windows, like down in the corner, or I guess it's just a little
which is now a logo. It doesn't even say start anymore.
Well, I have my Windows like reskinned as like as Windows 3.1, so like it's pretty it saves a lot of processing power when you like.
Yeah, but if you buy, like if an old person buys a new computer,
yeah, it's a round circle with the Windows logo.
It's got like the Windows 10 on it, like automatically.
Right, and when you tell them to hit the button, they're gonna start pushing buttons on the keys. That's what's gonna happen. They're not gonna look on the screen. Their eyes go to when you say click on something, you know, they look at the keyboard like, well, where is it? I don't see the start button. Oh, they must mean power, and then they'll hit the power and turn the whole laptop off or turn the whole computer off. The screen went black when I hit the start button, and then you're going like, oh god, did you really click the start button or did you hit the power button? Oh, well, I pushed the one on the wall.
You can't do it over the phone.
No, I mean,
and it's like in myself too. Like I have some meltdowns, and I had a meltdown with the Air Canada app. Like I had downloaded my tickets digitally.
Yeah.
And like I was in the Edmonton airport flying back here, and like I had just recently gotten the app.
Yeah.
Downloaded the thing, and then like on the I couldn't find it anymore. Like for the love of God, I couldn't find it. Well, did you put it in your wallet? What do you mean? Did I put it in my wallet? Oh, well, the wallet app on your phone. You need to transfer from there to there. Like, how the fuck? What should I have known that I should have done that? And then I just like I couldn't go there, and I was like, before I caused the scene, I just went through at least we had like 2 hours before the flight took off.
Right.
And I just went there and I just like printed paper tickets. I'm like, I just want paper tickets, and I'm transferring again to Montreal. Can you print those for me here as well? Like I just like I had lost it. Like I was so pissed off. Like I downloaded it like last night. I'm like, okay, well, where's that? Like on this app, and I give my phone to an Air Canada agent, and they can't find it on the app. And then finally somebody, like, they couldn't figure it out. Like the Air Canada employees couldn't figure it out.
No, because how often did they get it?
He's like a big gamer and says, oh, well, you had to transfer it over to your wallet. I'm like, what the fuck is wallet? Well, it's an app on your iPhone. I'm like, well, how should I have known? Like he was telling me this, like, how could you not know that you have to transfer it from there to there? Like, I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about right now.
What is wallet? Like, I've never heard of it till right now. Like, I've never...
And that from 200 years ago came back to life now, and I'd be giving him my keys to my Honda Civic, and I'd be like, well, just go start it. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Start it? What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah,
well, here's the key. Use the key. Start it. I'm like, well, where should I put this? Like, he doesn't know. Like, he has no idea what putting a car key into a car starter is.
No.
And turning it. Like, he have no clue. It's common sense for me. And to this guy, like, it was common sense that, oh, you have, like, you download the tickets, and then you transfer it over to the wallet. I have no idea still how the fuck I do that, but it's like, and he's looking at me like, why? Like, you don't know this?
Man, what's going to be the next thing? That's what I want to know. Because, like, I can clearly remember putting the Nintendo Wii on the screen, and my grandfather, like, looking at it, and, like, his brain, like, you could see it in his eyes that his brain couldn't even comprehend what was happening on the screen. Like, when I look at the screen,
I'm like, oh, well, there's depth to it. This goes in. These are the lands of Mario. It goes in a 3D realm, and I'm this little Mario character, and I'm going to jump on these different things. And, like, you know, in my mind, or Mario Kart, I'm like, I'm in a race car, and I'm traveling around the desert, or driving around the ocean, or whatever. But I could see in his eyes that he was just like, he couldn't, like, his brain couldn't even construct what visually was being seen, or how I was controlling things wirelessly through, like, you know, the controllers. And I just want to know, what's the next? What's the thing?
I can understand that. Like, when I was younger, I couldn't, like, understand how no people wrap their brain around. I'm like, like, what year was he born?
My grandfather? Oh, geez.
Yeah.
I don't know. He passed away in 2010, and he was like 77 or 78.
Okay, so that means, so if we go 2010, 80, since he was born like 1932?
Yeah. Sounds about
so
right.
So that means he was in his 40s the first time he saw color TV.
Yeah, and even,
he was probably in his
younger
50s the first time he owned a color TV.
Yep.
No, like...
Yeah, but what
TV
what
for
is...
him was like already a big thing that his grandfather couldn't comprehend.
Right.
But he was like, well, yeah, Dad, like, you've got this, like, moving picture on the TV, of course.
But, like, for me and you, for when we get old, what's going to be the thing? What do you think is the thing going to be that we're not going to comprehend?
You can't...
Like, we probably can't even fathom it right now.
Well, that's the thing. You cannot wrap your mind what it's going to be. You can't wrap your brain around what it's going to be. Because just like your grandfather, who couldn't wrap brain around the Nintendo working on the TV, he couldn't wrap his brain around that. Well, he couldn't have imagined it. He didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
Well, the same thing as his grandfather probably didn't see moving images coming.
Yeah.
And his grandfather before that was like baffled by the radio.
Yeah.
And the light bulb.
Yeah.
You know,
light bulb.
Like the light bulb and the radio freaked out his grandfather.
It's not natural. It's not natural, see? We're not going to be putting those light bulbs in my house, see? You keep that devil spark out of here, see? I don't want nothing to do with it. There'll always be these people who are resistant, too, to new technology and new things. People who hate it. They're like, no, not in my house. I'm not going to have that ever. And then...
I'm already like that. I'm 39, and I'm starting to be that already. And people that are 30 are laughing at me. You just wait. Like, that Douglas Adams quote is true. Douglas Adams says when you're in before 25, anything new and out of the ordinary is exciting because you could probably make a career or get a job out of it.
Yeah.
Before 35, it's interesting but a little bit scary. But after 35, anything new and interesting is out of the ordinary and outside of nature. So, like, the quote goes something like that. Like, I'm off on it a little bit.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
It's true. Like, that whole, you know what I'm saying? Not in my house and already. I'm saying that to shit already. Like, the whole, like, Alexa thing. You talk to it, like, Alexa, play me, ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Alexa, what is the weather today? I'm like, I'm not putting that shit in my house.
Well,
like, that Alexa thing is going to be listening to everything that I say.
Yeah, hang on. That one specifically is a piece of shit. And they haven't been in the game long enough to understand technology, really. Like, they're not the Google. Amazon's trying to be Google, and they're not. Like, they don't have... Well, first of all, the guy that owns it is so cheap and frugal that he doesn't want to pay his employees enough to make a quality product. He wants to pay everyone minimum wage. He doesn't want to, like at Google, you know, people are going in there and are making $100,000 a year or more to be an ingenious innovator and create some cool shit. And so, like, I know my phone is listening to me all the time because whenever I'm having a conversation with someone, I need only open up Google, type in 2 letters of the thing we were just talking about, and it's going to auto-recommend me the exact thing that we were talking about.
Yeah, I see that all the time too.
I know
as soon as I'm like, oh, like, I want to look up, like, this hockey player, and I just put in, like, like in my mind, because like I'm like big into hockey. I watch a lot of hockey and all that, and I'll just like stop typing Mike, and then like the third one from the bottom is like McPhee already, and that's that's the guy I actually wanted up.
So something creepier, like my Google knows me.
Somebody else's phone, you put in Mike, it's not going to be Mike McPhee in the results.
No, but something creepier than that happened to me. I was reading a book, okay, and in the book was like a weird Latin name, you know, and it was in this book. It was carved into a stone wall. It was like a fantasy novel, I guess. Hopefully, I didn't finish the book because it ended up being like really horribly written, but I feel like once that gate had opened, they were going to find some kind of magical shit in behind the gate. So I had typed in and I was reading the book, right? I didn't say it out loud. I was like, oh, I wonder what that Latin word means. I had typed in just the first 2 letters of that Latin word, and it auto-recommended me that Latin word. I'm like, whoa, how... From 2 letters, out of all the possibilities that could have ever come up, why would those 2 letters come up like that and bring up that Latin?
Do you remember
saying?
What those 2 letters were?
Man, I got that book. See, here out west, they have these little libraries, these little boxes set up, and it's like take a book, leave a book. So there's these little book shelves on like almost every street. So I took it from one of those, and it sucked. So I put it back, and I took a different book that I liked. So no, I don't really remember what it was now, but I should have written it down. And it did have
scary, and it's not in a way. It's like a whole algorithm thing, but like that whole like I already like yell at my phone and computer every time it updates because because like it worked perfectly when I got it brand new, and at every update it gets slower and all that. And like when I was younger, now it's slow. I want the brand new one. I want the latest one. Now I just want something that's gonna last me till I'm like 65, and that's not gonna happen. And that pisses me off.
Something that's not gonna change every 3 months.
Yeah.
Too. It's like, why y'all gotta just keep moving the buttons around? Why I hit the menu it's in this order?
Not just that. Like it keeps changing until you can't use it anymore, and then when you get a brand new one, the brand new one does the exact same thing the one you got 2 years ago did.
I think we're gonna come out of this because like this has been happening. This started happening that I noticed when in 1993 to 95, I started building computers. Like I would buy a case, the case. I would buy a motherboard, plug the motherboard in. I would buy all the little cards and chips and wires and plug everything in myself. And back then is when I noticed, I was like, this year it's a 386 processor. Next year, they came out with the 486. It was like, holy shit, 486? That's a whole extra 100 megahertz of processing. Now we're into the gigahertz, which is 1,000 of the megahertz. You know, now you'll have like 4 gigs of processing power, you know, per chip. And it's grown since then, and every year they slowly just trickle out a little bit more power and a little bit more higher processor. And I feel like the next probably 10 years of processing power has already been created, and they already have a plan, and they already know that yes, we've made the best.
They get it out so gradually. That's the thing. It's like there's no drastic. Like if you look at a computer today and look at what it does today, versus what it did 10 years ago, there's not a difference. If you buy a computer, like the purpose, it hasn't changed in the last 10 years at all.
No.
But they keep upgrading because that computer that you got 10 years ago, like the websites that you went on 10
you can't even look at them
years ago that you still use today aren't working on the computer that's 10 years old.
No.
And I've experienced that with a Mac.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Like it would stop updating, then it would crash anytime I would go on Facebook. It would crash at pretty much everything. A lot of streaming sites, like
YouTube,
like the NHL viewing.
Yeah.
Like I stream my games, like I watch them online.
Yeah.
That stopped working on there, and that all stopped working. So I bought a new computer to do the exact same thing I was doing with the Mac, but because they upgraded. But there's like, it looks different, but it still does the same thing. Like in the last 10 years, it does the exact same thing. If you have a computer for like a picture editing program or like music editing program, which is why I got the Mac, was like for the video editing.
Yeah.
And for the music editing, like I can still do the music editing on it. And if I get like a brand new Mac with like a brand new GarageBand on it, it's gonna do the exact same thing my old GarageBand was doing.
Yep.
Exact same thing.
Until 10 years, it'll slow down. But what I think, man, I think that they have only probably 10 more years of processing power that they've achieved, that they're stretching this out. And then, like, so, yeah, right now we're at, what, 4 to 5 gigahertz in a processor. I feel like in the next 10 years, they might get up to, like, the terabyte-sized processors. And once it gets that fast, like, they're going to stretch it out probably another 10 years. Once 10 years is...
To do what? To do what?
Just to make money.
What's it going to do differently?
But just to make money off the public. They already have, let's say today, they have a terabyte processor. They have it, but they're like, yeah, but we can't give this to them. We got to stretch it out. Let's give them let's give them 5,000 or 5 gigahertz, and then 6 gigahertz, and then 7. Let's climb the ladder. Let's not just jump right in and give them the terabyte, So, but I feel like there's only...
The only thing, like, nothing has changed in the past 10 years. Nothing has changed. If you go on the website, it still does the exact same job it was doing 10 years ago.
Right.
If you go on like a streaming website, it still does the exact thing it was doing 10 years ago.
But it does it a little bit faster, is the thing. A little bit faster.
Not that much.
No.
Not that much.
Not discernibly much. But here's the thing. I got a new laptop, and my new laptop is smoking fast compared to my older laptop. My older laptop is incredibly fast compared to like everyone else's around me. But when I put the new one next to my old one, that's when I start to see, I'm like, oh, there's tiny little things. Like when I minimize a program, I can see the screen like going down into the corner. Like I can visually see it like shrinking down into a button.
Yeah, but
on the new one,
your old one, before you could actually, it was faster, and then after a while, they just made everything on it slower. Because
right.
like it was faster. I'll use my example. Like my computer I have right now, I've had it for 3 years, almost 4 now. Okay.
Yeah.
When I first got it, when I went on like any website, it would load like right away, and every I update, I yell at it, and if I go on a website, there's loading. I to the same sites. Like now, if I want to write a message like on Facebook on that thing, it takes forever. Just like open like the messenger part. It takes forever just to do that now. And it's the exact same computer that was doing that lightning fast 4 years ago.
Yep.
And did messenger change? Not at all. Not at all. It didn't change. It's still the same thing. It's still the same job. Yeah, the upgrades, quote unquote, upgrade the website, but it's to make it slower so that you buy that new thing. It's kind of like the Chris Rock joke where he says they've sent a man to the moon with a rocket that can withstand so many degrees of heat and go into space and actually come back. Don't make me believe they can't make a Pinto that the bumper doesn't fall off. He says they can, but that'd be stupid.
Oh yeah. Hey,
and like that's.
Did you ever watch?
Yeah, it's like that whole like pharmacy thing, Like I think he also added in that bit the whole pharmacy thing. Like they could cure you, but there's no money in that, so they just They just give you a little bit of the cure to keep you alive, so that you have to keep taking it for the rest of your life.
Yeah. It's like a trickle down,
Like,
stretch it out. Did you ever watch that show with I think it's called Dragon's Den, where the products, an inventor will have an idea. So I was watching this, and I can't remember what the invention was, but the guy's motivation behind it was like he had a pure heart, he had a pure soul. He wasn't really a businessman trying to make money. He was trying to create a solution for a problem that existed on Earth with whatever this product was. And so the product that he came up with, it had like, it would never break. It was like to be the BMW or the Volvo, you know, something that like they don't break down, they have high quality, and they loved it. The dragons loved it, only they didn't like that it was going to last so long. They said it needs more moving parts, add some gears and spinners, things are going to break, so there can be aftermarket products. We need other companies to make the little gears that are going to break. And they were saying these words like, you need planned obsolescence. You need this thing. It's too perfect, they said. We don't want to fund something that's not going to break down. Like, we need, I know it works. He's like, and the inventor was like, no, he's like, that's not what I'm about. He goes, I want to make something that you're only going to buy once for the rest of your life, and it's going to work, and it's just going to sit there, and it's not going to break down and have extra garbage filling up landfills and all this kind of stuff. And they didn't like that at all. They're like, you know what, you can get out, buddy. You're clearly not here to make money. You're here to try and save the world with one product. So they kicked him out because of that, which is kind of, I was like, man.
Well, it goes back to this, the Chris, where themselves over that whole polio. Like, they cured polio, and now there's like, that's it. Like, they can't make money off polio anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh.
And but yeah, it's like, it's as if, let's say you invest in you come up with a battery that will never die.
Right, and it charges in the air. It doesn't even need sun, it just needs air. Air charges the battery.
This is a battery that will never die. As long as it's exposed to oxygen, the battery will never die.
Right.
You will fucking sell stocks at 25 cents a share. It will fucking skyrocket for a month.
Yep.
And then they will drop.
That's it.
Negatives, but you know what? Everybody's bought the battery, so now they don't need to buy the battery anymore.
That's right.
Energizer is now out of business.
Yeah.
You know,
all of them.
Duracell is out of business. They're all out of business because now everybody has a battery that will never die.
And it runs off
and
air.
that stock has like dropped. You can still make some more, but you're not selling as much.
No.
And basically, you've solved the problem. You're solving the problem of like having all these dead batteries in landfills.
Yeah, you've made the world a better place.
And you've created jobs that you're going to have to lay off after a couple months. You know, so it's a weird thing. Like, the economy is thriving on constant productivity.
Right.
And like keep.
But
and that's the thing too. Like at Rogers, there was a thing like they sell like the bundle. You have to get like the TV, internet, and home phone to get a discount. If you don't get the home phone, it's actually you can't get the discount, so you're going to be paying more for the TV and internet. Well, you're just like having people hold on to the home phone idea to
for
this,
no
like,
reason.
Idea that's dying. Like, you're forcing people to like hold on to this thing.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, we have so many like home phone subscribers. You know, personally, that have a modem for the home phone, and they do not own a home phone. And they just have that there because they can save $20 a month.
Yeah, they don't even have it plugged in. A lot of places I've been, people have the home phone, but they don't use it. So it's like, why does the guy have to run a wire from the line in, hook it up, do all this extra shit to give you this home phone that you don't want, that you're not going to even have a phone to plug into it? Because people like, where do you even buy?
I think it's like,
you can't even buy a home phone.
Yeah.
I don't see them anywhere.
And I think it's like super dumb to put in the bundle because they just give them this and then don't give them the modem.
Yeah.
Like it's but on paper it looks like we have so many home phone subscribers. No.
No.
Like,
they don't actually want it, you know?
Like, you can give them the same discount without giving them the home phone, right? Like, you could actually do that, and you'd be making the same money, actually even more, because now you don't have to, like, waste time with the stupid modem.
Man, because this is, like, primarily a company that is run via call center, this reminds me of the way they used to do something at a sales center where I worked, and we would have to sell credit cards. Capital One was just becoming a company in Canada. They had no sales at all. No one knew who they were. We would call, and they were paying us just to call and say the word Capital One. As long as the word Capital One came out of my mouth 3 or 4 times, that's all they cared about. You didn't have to get sales. You just had to say, "Hi, I'm calling from Capital One MasterCard. Capital One MasterCard is a great MasterCard. If you choose Capital One..."
You're basically a commercial.
You're a commercial, and you're calling them, and you're just saying the words Capital One in their ear. Yeah, and so they did this thing, and the scripts. So here's the script, and it goes like this. So it's like, "Hi, this is Jay from Capital One. I'm just calling from Capital One to see if you guys want some Capital One." And then the next month they'll go, "Okay, well that script's not working. Let's change, let's revamp this. Instead of saying this is Jay, let's just say this is Capital One." And then later you'll say this is Jay. That's what they would do. They would rearrange the sentences. And that would be your whole new script for the next month. And then the next month, they're like, "Okay, this isn't working anymore either. Let's change this." We have found that people are more responsive when you don't even say your name anymore. Let's just say that you're Capital One. So you're like, "Hi, this is Capital One calling about Capital One. Would you like some Capital One services?" And then, eventually you sound like this weird robot who now doesn't have a name. And I mean, this is the way that these call centers work. It's the way their brains work. The people who work there, they're not very creative. They're not willing to spend money or resources into looking into what the real problem is.
It's always like some douche with like he's got like a sports coat with an expensive shirt underneath with no tie. Like has like the top button opened up.
Collars popped.
And he's wearing jeans, and he's got like these like $300 shoes.
Yeah. But everybody else
extremely uncomfortable, and like he says, "Oh well, we've made studies and we realize that people are more responsive." You made studies how?
Yeah, I don't think they do. They don't really do the studies though. They just kind of say they do the studies.
Oh well,
they charge the money.
Yeah, you got people there getting your $50 for being there for an hour and going like that. They'll just go there just to get their $50 and the fuck out.
Yeah, for sure. I've been in a focus group before. Like, you go in, you answer some questions. Sometimes you're there for like hours, though. You're there for like 4 to 6 hours answering these stupid questions about a product. And you don't even know what the product is sometimes.
You're just
and sometimes
so exhausted. You just like say anything. Like, what can I say that will end this soon?
Yeah, you're like, can I just go now? Like, I don't even care anymore. I don't even want the money. I just want to go. So let me out of this fucking room. Yes, I love it. Yes, it's good. Everything's great. Let me out.
Sure, why not?
Yeah. I like 40 better than I like the number 50. I don't care.
Yes.
Let me out of here. And then they're like, "Oh, so studies have shown that people like to be referred to by their first name instead of their last name." And it's like, no one really fucking cares, dude. No one cares. Call me Mr. Cole or call me Jay. I don't care. Like, there's no difference. Woo!
Like, you don't know me. I don't I don't know what you look like. You don't know what I after again. So
No.
It's not like no, it doesn't fucking at all.
Sometimes too, this is
none of it matters. Nobody cares. Nobody.
Sometimes though, and I learned this working in marketing firms, man, is that they try and force, for the client's sake, they try and force the right answer to come out of you. So it's like, do you not? It's like, on a scale of 1 to 10, what do you like more? Dying or an O. Henry bar. And you're like, well, I don't really like O. Henry bars, but I don't really like dying. So you kind of lean, more towards the O. Henry bar. It's like there. See? One person out of two likes an O. Henry bar. Or they force the number the other way, you like learning. One person out of 10 likes death. Like they force you to like pick one of the other sides. Just for the statistic, just to be able to print it maybe on the label or use it in the marketing, or when they have to bring stats back up to the bosses upstairs, they're like, look, everybody loved it. Now they love the O. Henry bar. Well, in comparison to what? In comparison to death, in dealing with death, of course you want the O. Henry bar.
Yeah, it's that whole, it reminds me of the old commercials. I think they do what you for long. And somebody climbing Mount Everest, just climb like, and then just well, all of this, they do all this struggle, so I may as well just go to the circuit and spend the $2.99 for it. Like, what would you do for a Klondike bar? Like, I've never even heard about this shit, and why are these people like risking their lives for this thing? Like, you can get ice cream elsewhere, right? Like, there's not.
What would you do for
that big a deal?
I would jump over a burning elephant for a Klondike bar. I would roll down a hill of glass covered in oil for a Klondike bar. Man, I've never even had a Klondike bar, so I don't know really what they're made of.
I've never bought it.
No, I don't care. And I don't care about butter.
You're telling me.
Butterfingers I've never had. There's so many like the big names I've never even tried. I'm just like, I don't know. I don't want to know what that is. Doesn't interest me.
You better get my finger off my Butterfinger. Like, what kind of a bully is that? Like, what, you've got like people trying to steal your lunch? You're a fucking adult. Like, like they're so trying to steal your chocolate bar?
What kind of a world do we live in?
Boycott all those. Like, even as a kid, like, I saw like how much bullshit they were. Like, I've never even heard about this. Why are people going to the extremes?
Yeah.
And I, at 12 years old, can fucking afford it. Like, you're an adult. If you want a Butterfinger, go fucking buy one. Like, why are you trying this other adult's Butterfinger? Like, what's going on here? Like, I remember I was watching, like, as a kid, I would actually think that. Like, I'd actually, like, see that bullshit as a kid. And somehow I ended up 18 years working call centers. But I would actually see, I think it's because I'm dumb in school, though. But, like these commercials as a kid, and I'd be like, God, this bullshit. Like, I've never. Why are people having parties? Like, I didn't get it.
You kind of cut out there for a minute, so
yeah.
I have no idea what.
Yeah, I think
party,
I did. Yeah, I heard.
Party you're talking about.
Well, no, we've bitched after corporations, and like we did the old man rant.
Woo!
After websites,
man,
and after solve.
We're never gonna fix this problem. Till the nanobots come in. That's what I'm saying. So in 10 years from now, exponentially the computing power will have been shrunken down to a quantum level where we have quantum computing, and everything is going to be microscopic computers, and swarms of nanobots are going to spray through the atmosphere. You're just going to breathe them in. You're not even going to see them, and next thing you know, you're going to be part machine because you're going to have this shit all in your blood.
Well, this is
all going to be
here's
connected.
a call back to the start. It's not going to over, and I'm going to be long dead by then. That's the call back to the very start of this podcast.
Man, you're gonna have to say that again because you cut out for the whole
okay.
thing.
Basically, just to make a call again, the very start of this podcast, the zombies are not going to take over. It's going to be robots, and I'm going to be long dead by then.
Maybe, dude. We might make it. We might make it to see the other side. where we don't even die, where the nanobots just you breathe them in and they went and they swept through your body and you're dying on your deathbed, you're 90 something, you're laying in a hospital, you've got gangrene, your penis is falling off, everything is over, and you just breathe in this lung full of nanobots that just whoosh whoosh whoosh, and you're 20 years old again, and you're a spring chicken, but you have the same brain and all the memories and everybody.
No, you're not gonna be 20 years old again.
Yeah,
because you know why?
They're gonna rewrite your DNA structure, and they're gonna put you in the CRISPR, and you're gonna like come out of it as a whole fresh.
Here's the thing: people are living longer now, right? You agree with that?
Yeah.
100 years old, people are living now. And like 200 years ago, if you died and you were 45, you looked 45. Okay.
Yeah.
But today, if you die and you are 90, you fucking look 90. Okay, you don't look 45. You don't look younger, longer. No, you get older and older. The older you get, the more unfuckable you are.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah,
So,
you get some wrinkles. You get some saggage happening.
yeah, so you don't want to live long. Ever spoken with an old person who's like over 100? They can't wait until death finally arrives. They don't want to do this any longer. Like they're done. They're done. They're like, that's it. I did my. When am I gonna check out?
Man,
They're done. They're done. They don't want to relive and.
No, they don't want to do. They don't want to like do a bunch of doing. That's for sure. But I believe that the ability to have what am I trying to say? So I believe that the nanobots are going to be able to rewrite your complete DNA structure, like right in the genetic level. They're going to go in like a 3D printer and just and they're going to reorganize some things. So those wrinkles and that saggage is going to have that elasticity, and your balls are going to come back up. Woo! And the lines on your skin are going to smoothen right out. But you're going to still have that 90-year-old brain now in like a 20-something-year-old body. You'll be at the peak performance of your life. You'll always have.
Here's my thing. I'm 39, okay, and you've heard me bitch for about an hour about technology. You know how much I'm gonna bitch about technology when I'm like 330 years old? Like, I'm gonna be like.
If only I could stop breathing these damn
like so far, I'm gonna be. I got it's today with your like flying mirror. Like, they're like thought processors and like whatever the fuck it is that it is. Like, do you imagine like the level of bitchiness that I'm gonna be doing? And I'm just gonna about like for the last so if I live like to be 330 for the last at least 290 years of my life, I'm just gonna be caring about my front lawn. That's it.
Yeah, but think about
that's gonna be like my only thing.
Think about how funny that you'll be, man. You'll have so much to complain about. You have so much material.
Yeah, and only the only people are going to be able to relate to what I say are the people who are like over 295 years old.
People who went through the non-death zone. People who were born into a world where we die. They'll be like, remember dying? Yeah, isn't that weird? People used to just die.
I already have some jokes about that. Like, remember when we were kids and the only things we had left to play with was like the fan? You did like all three settings. Do you know who's going to be able to relate to that in like 300 years? Fucking nobody. Like, fucking nobody is going to relate to that at all in 300 years. They're just going to be looking at me like, what the fuck's a fan? Like, is that, that was like an air conditioner back then, but it didn't really air condition, just like move air around. Like, wow, that's dumb.
Well, man, fuck. I hope people are listening to you for the next 300 years because I think you're funny and I like your sense of humor. But I'm going to have to start cutting this show down. We're going to have to shut her down a little bit here. Thanks for being here again, man. It's been great. I've like really enjoyed
it was fun, man. It was still a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I recommend anybody who wants this podcast to do it because it is a lot of fun.
Oh, fuck. You got to say that on your Facebook wall. Don't say it on here. at the end of the show when
absolutely.
everybody's already hung up. Everybody's already shut it off. Like, fuck these call center hating ass motherfuckers. Listen to them whining about their jobs that they had.
Man, you know how many people working call centers that would enjoy this podcast right now?
Oh,
a lot.
They
would be like, yes.
They're like, yeah, it's not just me. You know, and maybe we planted
the
that
seed. The only ones
seed.
would say, well, no, I like it here. It's like, you've been there for under 2 years. That's why you think you like it there. Just
2 years?
wait 5 years. You're going to be bitching just as much as I am.
I have never made it 6 months at the same job. Ever. Like, ever. Bartender, I bartended for almost 2 years. That was the longest stability I've ever had. Almost 2 years, but didn't even make it that far.
I really hope that is not your pickup line with ladies.
Man.
Like, I have not lasted a job more than 6 months.
Listen, the kind of girls that I hang out with, they're like, whoa, you have clothes, man? Cool. Do you have a place to put your clothes? Whoa, you have an apartment? Oh, that's the kind of girls I hang out with. So they're just
ladies.
Yeah, they don't care about the jobs that I've lasted at.
No, and you don't want to be with somebody who's with you because of what you do in life. That's for sure.
That is for sure, and it's unfortunate that I've been with people who were like that before. But you know what? It's a learning challenge, and I was very challenged because I kept getting with those same kind of girls over and over and over and over and over until one point you're like, oh my god, like, really? Does everybody just want stuff and to buy things and be a consumer? Like, are there no, like, is there ever a way out of this? Like, I feel like I can't escape the consuming of it all. Like, so we need more of this, now we need more of that, and now we need to do this, now we need to go here and do these and get this and buy some more of this stuff and pick these up, and it's like, holy fuck, can we just not? Can we just go live in the woods maybe and make our own shit? Oh no, that would be weird. And then all the excuses come out about, oh, but my parents and my family, and we'll never see anyone ever again. And
I'm gonna be honest. I got rid of a lot of my stuff and sold my house and went down to the bare minimum.
Yeah.
I've had, like, not even close to any girls, like, remotely interested in me at all. Ever since I did that.
What?
Like, when I had a house and I had stuff,
Yeah.
no problems. But ever since then, like, it's a it's a huge turn off. Okay, so you sold your house and you're going after your dreams?
So you live in a van?
With as little stuff and for not a lot of money? Okay, well, I'm just gonna go with this guy with the big truck now.
Man, but at the same time, and I know it sucks to say that, but, like, you don't want those kind of people, man. You don't want those kind of girls. But I mean, you do.
No, you don't.
You do sometimes, and for a short while.
You don't.
While it feels good, and then you don't want that. Like, you want it, but then you're like, okay, I got what I wanted out of it. Like, wink, wink. And then you don't want it.
Yeah, and
you're
to
like,
the ladies
okay.
listening who are like, I'm not like that, then no, you're not like that, but you probably already have a boyfriend, and I'm respectable enough that I know you're not going to leave your boyfriend for me. So, like, that's another thing too. You don't want to be an asshole. You don't want. I don't try to steal other people's girlfriends, nor do I have nor am I a 10 and can I do it, but
Man,
nor would I
I
try
don't know.
to do it because it's an asshole move. But hey, if you're not like that, props to you.
I totally agree with where you're going and where you're at with everything, because I, like, fantasize all the time, like, weekly, about just selling everything and giving it all away and going to live in a van. That's really appealing to me at this point. And I'm just like,
oh my god, I'm like really close to, like, just being in a van. Like, I've about that in the last 2 years, just a van.
Yeah, and, like, I could still, like, live here, just park my van somewhere. I could still do all the things that I'm doing to make money here, just living out of a van. And then you're not paying, like, all this rent and power and water and all the things, all the luxury payments that you're paying for. and you know, just kind of step out of it, and then not have to have so much stuff, like so much crap. Like I have all this just stuff that's accumulating and building up, and like I don't like the attachment of it. But then I look at, like, you know, look at my podcast. Like, where would I set up a recording studio? In my van? Do you think this is going to run off my fucking car battery? I don't think so. So, like, where's the high-speed internet going to hook up? In my van? Because that ain't happening.
Yeah, what are you going to do? Like, park outside the McDonald's, try to get their Wi-Fi? Their Wi-Fi is pretty shitty.
Yeah.
That's not going to work.
Exactly. Exactly.
Like, any Starbucks or whatever, like, any, like, pub.
That's it.
Like, Wi-Fi sucks.
That's it.
So, yeah.
Yeah. All right, man. So I think we'll end on that shitty Wi-Fi note.
All right. Well, it was a lot of fun, and I hope to do it again soon.
Awesome, dude. We will talk to you later. Goodbye.
All right. Talk to you later, man. Bye.
That was weird. I mean, he didn't even bring me a gift. Most of my guests bring me a gift, like a fuzzy kitten. I mean, there's so many kittens laying around though. I mean, people, please stop bringing me kittens. I don't have any space for any more kittens, really, but a dog maybe to clean up all these kittens, that would be alright. And then maybe like a vulture to, you know, clean up the dog after a while.
Anywho, Marty is off and away, far from my microphone, but I'm sure we'll hear his lovely, booming and commanding voice sweep us off of our feet once more sometime in the near future. And until then, you'll just have to make do with my annoying ass voice and what is coming out next. At some point, we have Mike Dow, aka MDB, who is a rapper who struggles with visual impairment. So yeah, rapper who is blind. Viviana Ng with the yoga talk and running a yoga teacher business. We have Heather McMichael, who suffers from CMT. It's a disease that gives you chronic stabbing pains all through your body. We have Kathleen McLean, who is a really cool cat, and we talk about a lot of interesting stuff about mind control and marketing. And then my friend Michelle Murphy stops by, who is a facilitator of art therapy, and she had a lot to say about the business of helping people through art mediums and through media. So keep checking back every week, or maybe every couple days, folks, for a new episode of Beyond the Mat podcast. Until next time, peace, love, and light. Namaste, and all that other good noise. And we out of here. Ding!